returns to the series final, both times shooting down opponents on the way. Today, 8 new teams have weathered the road to Omaha, each with hopes and dreams of bigger and better things to come. This is a live shot just outside Rosenblatt Stadium here in Omaha, Nebraska. We are just moments away from starting the 1988 series. ESPN presents the opening game of the College World Series, a Western Division clash between top seed Arizona State and number 8 seed, the California Golden Bears. Hello, everybody. I'm Ron Franklin, and it's great to have you along on this Friday afternoon as ESPN begins its 9th consecutive year of covering collegiate baseball here in Omaha, Nebraska. This whole thing started back in 1947, but it was not until 1950 that they moved the tournament to Omaha. And I can assure you of this, the fine folks here have turned this into some kind of spectacle. It is a fun event for fan and players alike. Now, with this 1988 tournament, we are not without a small amount of controversy, and it all deals with the format and a format change of the tournament. This is what it looks like. 8 regional champions, that's no change, but they have broken them into 2 14 brackets. What happens, those 2 14 brackets each play double elimination, and here's the rub. The bracket winners play in the championship game, single game, no double elimination. With me is my broadcast partner, and in fact, he's covering his 3rd College World Series, Jim Cott. Jim, what a better way to start it. The top-ranked team in the nation in Arizona State.
Couldn't have a better leadoff team, Ron. You know, Arizona State has had teams with better power, better pitching, better speed, and defense. But coaches that have played against Jim Brock for a number of years, and even Brock himself will say this is the best balanced Arizona team we've ever had, combining power, pitching, speed, and defense.
Jim, what is Mr. Brock doing this afternoon, though? Is he throwing us a curve? He's got the winningest pitcher in the nation, but he's not going with him in this opening game.
That's unusual. You usually lead with your ace, Linty Ingram. He's got 17 wins, but in his 2 outings against California, he's been roughed up. 15 innings, he surrendered 12 runs. So they're going to go with lefty Rusty Kilgo. This cuts down the California running game a little bit.
Well, speaking of California, Bob Milano was the man who has done such a superb job in Berkeley, and I have a feeling that he didn't know about this change until after he got here to Rosenblatt Stadium.
Well, coaches play these mind games with one another, but California, predominantly left-hand hitting team, what this does is their 2 switch hitters will turn around. It will cut down on their speed, give Kilgo a chance to hold him closer at first base. Key man in their lineup is John Keel. Keel on the year was their leading hitter with 8 home runs and 52 RBIs. And with runners in scoring position, he hits .353, so big burden offensively on John Keel.
Tell us about Travis Willis, the starter for California today.
Well, Travis Willis's record is not impressive, 9-7, but in 2 games against Arizona State, great ball games. He beat them 4-3 and then lost a tough one 3-1. So Coach Bob Milano feels he is the best bet pitching-wise they can go with against Arizona State.
Okay, Jimmy, we have told the people about the first 2 teams, Arizona State and also California. But there are 6 other clubs here in Omaha, Nebraska. Who are they? Let's take a look right now. From the Wichita State campus in Wichita, Kansas, comes the Shockers. They literally shocked the top-ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys in the Midwest Regional, denying the Big 8 champs another trip to Omaha. They're seeded 4th in the West bracket and will counter their little big man, 5'7" senior second baseman Mark Sandiford. All he did was lead the club with 26 home runs and 92 RBIs. Out of the Sunshine State from the city of Gainesville, Florida, come the Gators. Pitching is what brings them to the College World Series. The staff ace, junior right-hander Jeff Getcom, who finished 2nd in the nation with 16 wins this season. There's been more to talk about in Fresno, California than raisins. The Fresno State Bulldogs roll into Omaha as the 2nd seed in the tournament. Lance Shevlin provides the offense. And the pitching staff is bolstered by Rich Crane, a 15-2 record for the West Regional champions. Fresno State will take on their neighbors to the north as the Stanford Cardinal defends its 1987 national title. This year, they entered the tournament seeded 7th, coming out of the Northeast Regional, where it took a 4-for-4, 5 RBI performance by second baseman Frank Carey and a 16-2 rout of Kentucky. Miami, Florida has long been swept up in hurricane mania, whether it be football or baseball. Junior right-hander Joe Gray led the return to the College World Series with a 13-4 record. He had 2 wins and a save while earning MVP honors in the Atlantic Regional. There's a 4th California school in this year's World Series. It's Cal State Fullerton. They upset the #1 seed Texas A&M in the South Regional. The hits kept falling for Titan sophomore catcher Brent Main, who carried a 37-game hitting streak into the regionals. He hopes that a new streak will begin when they take on Miami Saturday night. So we are just about ready for the first pitch of this College World Series. ESPN's presentation of the 1988 College World Series is being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Firestone Master Care Car Service. With 1,400 locations nationwide, finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. By the financial professionals at Payne Weber. And by AT&T, the right choice. It's Arizona State and California coming up next.
For many years, they've carried our beer. A special breed. Delivering a special brand. Today, the Clydesdales also carry a message. One of consistency, care, of natural ingredients, and exclusive Beechwood aging, which give Budweiser that distinctively clean, crisp taste. The Clydesdales. Today, they carry our message of quality.
It's no big deal. It's a pain.
No, Carrie, it's called a Master Care Car Service.
Brakes, alignments, tune-ups.
The works.
It's no big deal. And a 6-month or 6,000-mile warranty covers parts, labor, wherever they do Master Care service.
From Seattle to Schnecksville.
Sounds right, this Master Care.
So right that fixing your car is no big deal.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. Master Care Car Service by Firestone.
I thought they just sold tires.
The Arizona State lineup is brought to you by Wilson, the official ball of the College World Series. Jim Brock is the head coach at Tempe. The other coaches here at the College World Series voted him the team to beat. Leading off and playing shortstop is Pat Listash. Great defense, ideal leadoff man because he's a contact hitter. Third baseman John Finn will hit second. Moved from the outfield this year, very disciplined hitter. In the 3 position, second baseman Kevin Higgins. Mr. Sun Devil is his label. Good defense, 10 home runs. The cleanup hitter is first baseman Steve Willis. The team's leading hitter most of the year. He has 28 doubles. In right field is Dan Rumsey. He'll bat 5th. Mr. Clutch for the Devils. Very smart hitter. In the 6th position is designated hitter Martin Peralta. They wrote him off early. He just kept working and coming back. Catcher Tim Spear will hit in the 7th spot. 20 home runs, and remember, he's playing with a broken knuckle on his throwing hand. In the 8th position, left fielder Ricky Candelaria. Believe it or not, 83 RBIs in the 8th spot. And number 9 is center fielder Mike Barola. Had a great regional, and he handles the pressure well.
And defensively for the Golden Bears, in right field, Brian Scott. Over in center will be Darren Lewis. The left fielder's Todd Mayo. Around the infield at third base, Bart Fretz. The shortstop is Mike Muthaler. And at second base, Darrell Weiss. The first baseman, Brad DeJardin. Behind the plate, Derek Stark. And on the mound, right-hander Travis Willis.
Travis Willis visiting with the home plate umpire there for just a second. The youngster who had such a marvelous outing down in Austin, Texas at the Central Regional. And there you see the numbers. Total of 50 strikeouts and 108 2/3 innings, giving up 118 hits, 74 runs, 62 of those were earned. Jimmy, and what's he throw?
Well, he's a control pitcher, 5 pitches, fastball, curveball, slider. A lot of pitchers now around throw what they call the BP fastball, this sort of a changeup.
First pitch of the 1988 College World Series. Ground ball to Fretz to the left side across the infield, and on the very first pitch, just like that, 5-3 if you are scoring. And Listash is down. The dimensions here at Rosenblatt Stadium give you a look at the size of this ballpark. Down the left field line is 343. Power alley 370, 420 to straightaway. That's a pretty good clout, Jimmy. 370 the same as it is symmetrical, and 343 down the right line. John Finn, the number 2 batter for the Arizona State Ball Club, as Listach on the very first pitch of the afternoon grounds it to third base for the out. Strike called to the outside corner. Finn, as we said, had a great outing down in Austin, Texas, in the regional down there. It is John Bible who is behind the plate. Just outside in the curveball, evens it at 1-1. And here are the umpires: Bible, Williams, Graham, and Garman. That is John Bible, who is out of Austin, Texas, behind the plate. 1-1 pitch on the way. Just outside for a ball. Higgins is the man on deck, and should either Finn or Higgins get on, and we look at the cleanup hitter Steve Willis here to open this 1988 College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. Good look at John Finn. Swung on, ground ball again to the left side. Fretz knocks it down, keeps it in front, long throw, and to Desjardins, and he is out. So Jimmy, the first 2 ground balls to the left side, and already Mr. Fretz has got the butterflies out because he's been able to handle a couple, and there are 2 down in the top half of the first inning.
Not many butterflies between these 2 teams as you would normally because they play each other so often.
Pentland, the third base coach, and Jeff Barton is over on first base. Pentland is the hitting coach for the Sun Devils. Strike called.
And to explain that to our fans, Arizona State and California met 6 times during the regular season. They each won 3 in the other one's ballpark.
That is truly strange. Curveball on the outside, misses. In fact, it came into Tempe, did California, and they swept the 3, winning the first one by a big margin of 10-3. And then they came back and they were close games in the next 2. Arizona State went to Berkeley, and a ballpark that is really tough to hit the ball out of. And they took 3 there to even things. And Jim, I have to feel as though that both Milano and Brock had far rather be playing anybody else than ball clubs that know each other so well in the opening game of the College World Series.
Well, this makes the players relax more because they know the opposition so well. But yes, I think they would prefer to be playing another team.
2-1 pitch down low. So 3-1 is the count. We have 2 out here at the top of the first, as both the leadoff batter Listash and John Finn have grounded out to third baseman Bart Fretz. Willis into the lineup. Very quick worker. Swung on, grounder to the right side, and the pitcher gets over nicely for the cover, and there are 3 down here in the top half of the first inning. So it is 1-2-3 for Arizona State in the first. No score. California coming to bat. This starting lineup for the California Golden Bears is brought to you by Wilson, the official game ball of the College World Series. The head coach at Berkeley is Bob Milano. Won the Central Regional in Austin last time at the College World Series, 1980. Leading off and playing left field is Todd Mayo. All Pac-10 performer at a fine regional tournament. Center fielder Darren Lewis will hit in that number 2 position. Great arm in defense. He also made the all-tournament team. In the 3 position, third baseman Bart Fretz. A line drive hitter, he had 2 home runs in the regional. The designated hitter John Keel will bat fourth. He's a switch hitter, and he looks to drive the ball when he's at the plate. In the number 5 spot is catcher Derek Stark, a fine defensive catcher who can throw out runners with great consistency. In the 6th position, second baseman Darrell Weiss, another switch hitter, great speed and a great glove. In the 7th spot, right fielder Brian Scott, the best arm of the outfielders, has outstanding speed. In the number 8 position, first baseman Brad Desjardins. Super defense, and he hit over 600 in the regional tournament. And in the number 9 spot is shortstop Mike Buellthaler. He split time at shortstop this year. He has an above-average arm.
For the Sun Devils on defense in right field, Dan Rumsey. Over in center field, Mike Barola. And in left field, Ricky Candelaire. Around the infield, third baseman, it's John Finn. The shortstop is Pat Listash. Second base, All-American Kevin Higgins. And over at first base, Steve Willis. Behind the plate is Tim Spear. And on the mound, left-hander Rusty Kilgo.
Jim, as we look at Mr. Kilgo right there and get some of his numbers, one of the press guys says that he is from Longview. Another says he is from Houston, Texas. And he says, no, make no mistake, guys, I am from Hallsville, Texas. That's just outside of Longview.
Well, he's from Texas, no doubt about that. They've got a great connection here that we'll get into as the game rolls along between Texas and Arizona State.
Todd Mayo, the left fielder, leads it off for Cal. Takes a strike in the outside corner. Jim, we're going to have to get into it before long, but one thing that's going to be interesting to watch, and that is for you to talk to us about the strike zone and see if it is enlarged as you thought it was here last year. Southpaw delivers. Shortstop Listash over to first, and there's one down. So both ball clubs opening up with ground balls and early outs.
Well, you see right there, Listash swung over towards second base. Perfect position to field the ball and retire Mayo.
Darren Lewis, the center fielder, steps in for Cal. 286 average on the regular season. Takes the ball down low.
Mentioned that strike zone, Ron. I think in recent years we've seen the college umpires become a little more liberal. John Bible, of course, is a veteran umpire. Will call more high strikes than most.
Lewis, one of the most patient hitters on this Cal ball club, looks at a ball 2 just a little bit high and out of the strike zone. Rusty Kilgo, the surprise starter for the Sun Devils of Arizona State today. This one's down low, and now he is behind, working 3-0.
The only difference with Kilgo starting would be the mental approach he would take, because he's used to coming in the second and third inning, almost like a sixth man in basketball.
Outside corner, strike called. You know, neither one of these pitchers, Jim, we talked last week in Miami about the fact that Gray is a fast worker. Jim Brock, the head coach at Arizona State, moving somebody defensively. I think he was talking to his left fielder, Candelaire. Ball 4. But both of these pitchers work very quickly. They don't waste a lot of time. So the first base run of the afternoon, Darren Lewis, trots down to first. And it's Bart Fretz.
Bob Milano flashing signs right there. The top 3 guys in this order will run on their own. Mayo, Lewis, and Fretz. The only thing they'll get is a stop sign. Of course, the reason that Brock countered with the left-hander Kilgo to try to hold him close to the bag.
Well, we both know that Cal comes into this one having stolen 133 bases. As the move goes back to first, and we may see quite a lot of that in the early going here by Kilgo to make sure that they get it stolen honestly and don't take it off him. Nothing cheap. Fretz, very patient hitter. In fact, Bob Milano said last night that these two guys, both Lewis and Fretz, will stand in there all day long and give you a really good look at the ball, but they're not going to go chasing something that is well out of the strike zone.
Well, they're another one of those teams that draws more walks than they do strikeouts, so they're patient.
To the plate, strike called at the outside corner. Jim, and I'd say, in looking at that one right there, that John Bible is definitely given the black and a little extra maybe.
Oh, here's an example. We talk about the expanded strike zone. Just get a look at this. Looks like it might be a little low and away. What's John Bible say? Strike.
0-1 is the count. Back over to first base, and Lewis back in plenty of time. If you just joined us, Arizona State went down in order 1-2-3. Mayo grounded out to open the bottom half of the first inning. Lewis has walked, and he is the man over at first base for the California Golden Bears.
Of course, Ron, right here, this works 2 ways. Kilgo is trying to keep Lewis close over there, but the more he throws over, the better Lewis can read his move and enable himself to get a better jump.
A little bit longer lead this time. Comes to the plate outside and high for a ball.
Tim Spear, Ron, suffered an injury. You see that wrapping around his middle finger, split a knuckle in an accident, and as a result, it's hampered his throw. He hasn't hurt his hitting because he hit 3 home runs in the doubleheader the other night to clinch the championship, but it does affect his throwing.
Back over to first base, and I think that's one of the reasons, as Jim pointed out, that we're not only seeing the left-hander today, but we're seeing a lot of attention to first base, is because I get the feeling, although Bob Milano and the guys didn't say last night, but you have the feeling that they would like to test his finger and see if he throws well. Runner was going, only play is to first base, and there are 2 down as Lewis moves up to second as they had the hit and run on. So there are 2 down. Lewis moves down to scoring position, and it brings up John Keel, the designated hitter. He's a switch hitter.
Well, already sets up a little bit of strategy in this situation because Keel is by far the best power hitter for California, and with first base open, Derek Stark on deck. See what Kilgo decides to do.
2 outs, runner checked down at second base, and the ball is outside. Keel started off the year as the regular at third base, but now is the designated hitter as Fritz has come on and done a fine job over there with the glove and also at the plate. 1-0 pitch, swung on and missed, fooled him badly on that one, and it goes even at 1 apiece.
See, by turning Keel around, actually they're pitching to him as a natural right-hand hitter. That's his natural stroke. That's just a good breaking ball from Kilgo. He does throw the split finger as well as the curve, but Keel has more power from the left side of the plate, despite being a natural right-hand hitter.
1-1 the count. Fakes the throw down to second. Nobody had made a move as Listash stayed at home, as did Higgins. Lewis not taking any chances, and he went back in on his stomach. 2 men down, 1-1. Keel swung on ahead of that pitch, and now he's working behind at 1 and 2.
Boy, this is just the start, Ron, of 270 Division I college teams working their way to what we have right here in Omaha. They went to 8 regions, as you mentioned in the open, and now we've got the best 8 teams in the country, the teams that played the best in 1988, trying to make it to that championship game.
Kilgo with a long look in this time. You see the regional that Keel had. Went after the pitch. Strike 3 is called, and that will do it in the first inning for the California Golden Bears as Keel goes down on strikes. So we head to the second. No score. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Introducing AmberVision, the most amazing breakthrough in vision technology since glasses were invented. These super glasses actually improve vision indoors, outdoors, day or night. We guarantee it. Look, AmberVision blocks the blurring blue rays, the same rays that cause haze and fog.
Everything is so much crisper and clearer.
I can't believe my own eyes. They're amazing.
AmberVision blocks 100% of the dangerous ultraviolet light with UV 400, the best protection for your eyes. You'll wear these high-fashion glasses all year round, and one size fits all.
Oh, I can't believe the difference.
Catalogs offer similar glasses for $59.95. But now you can order AmberVision for just $10 on this special offer. Seeing is believing, so order AmberVision today.
Clip-on model is also available. Credit card users call 1-800-445-4000. That's 1-800-445-4000. Or send just $10 plus $250 shipping to AmberVision Box 500-E, Verona, New Jersey, 07044.
Hey, kid, why did the chicken cross the road? To have a ball with Johnny Bench and the Baseball Bunch. Join the fun and get great playing tips from Major League stars. Weekday afternoons on ESPN.
Well, there you see it. Nothing but zeros up there right now as we head to the top half of the second inning. Steve Willis will step in, leading it off for the Sun Devils. One of the Pac-10's most consistent hitters, was voted all league by the coaches. Looks at the ball inside.
One of your passes there, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, those, I guess those are sun goggles, aren't they?
Whatever.
I guess they are. 1-0 pitch on the way. Swung on.
I thought it was a scuba mask, actually. Maybe they were goggles.
I really think we should leave this alone this early, Jimmy. Willis actually was the leading hitter for Arizona State for most of the year as Travis Willis looks in. Goes through the signs one time. Now picks out one that he would like. Curveball. Strike on a swing and a miss. And again, he works in front. Jim, we were talking during the timeout. Both of these pitchers do not seem concerned about this opening game, do they, as far as
well, it
jitters?
goes back to the comfort level of playing against one another. Good breaking ball there by Willis, the kind you like to, as a pitcher, throw drops out of the strike zone to fool the hitter, getting him out front.
1-2. Pitch on the way. Tried to tease him or tantalize him with an outside pitch down low. And it evens up at 2-2.
Let's see what sign they're using.
Stark with the sign swung on. Foul ball off to the left side.
You saw that quick flash, the 3 and then the 2. Of course, when runners get on base, the catchers will change their sequence. You like to keep those signs as simple as possible between pitcher and catcher.
Against Arizona State, you can see the record right there that Travis Willis pitches with. Drive to left field. Wynn's going to hold that one up. Didn't get all of it. Mayo was under it for the first out of the second inning. And that gives us a chance to take a look at that season series. Look at those scores, Jimmy. 10-3. And of course, Ingram is the man who was the loser in that 10-3 ball game, but one of those was a grand slam late after it was already out of hand. But you see how close the remainder, and the fact that they flip-flop, sweeping at the other team's ballpark, which is really unusual. And Rumsey, the right fielder, steps in. Healthy batting average, as for the most of the Sun Devils, .328 as he comes into this College World Series.
Here's the guy I'm sure California fears in that lineup more than anyone, especially if it gets late in the game and it's close. This guy has hit more home runs in the 8th, 9th inning to either tie or win games than anyone on the Sun Devil team.
Line drive, base hit. Nope, going to be caught as Mayo got over, and for a moment it looks as though it was going to fall in. So Mayo comes up recording both outs here in the second inning. Case in the first is the fact that on the left side of the infield, Fretz wound up with a couple of outs, a couple of assists.
Well, one thing that playing against a team for the 7th time this year can do is help you position yourself defensively. You see that ball was hit well, but Mayo was swung over in the hole in left center field, was able to track it down.
Martin Peralta, the designated hitter. Foul ball as he tried to check on that one.
This guy's a great story, isn't he? I mean, couldn't make the team. They sent him, said go home. He went to the JV team, kept playing day after day and impressing people. Finally, Jim Brock had to play him, and he's leading their team in batting average.
Jim said he'd go over and play a game with the junior varsity, then come over, try to play with the varsity, just whatever it took. And they got it. Great play as Weiss, Darrell Weiss, slipped down as he got the grounder, made the throw over to Desjardins, and there are 3 down here in the top half of the second inning. One more look at the nice play by Weiss. Gets the ground ball, and you see he loses his footing just momentarily. Gets it out of his glove. Desjardins is there. No score. We head to the bottom of the second.
A message from Payne Weber, one of America's leading full-service investment firms. How do you know if your broker is the right one for you? We're talking with Joe Grano, president of retail sales and marketing at Payne Weber. Joe, how can people tell?
People should look for comfort and confidence. If you were dealing with an attorney or a doctor, you could ask the same question. Am I getting the best advice I possibly can? I think you have to feel confident that you are getting that advice, and you have to be comfortable with the individual you're dealing with.
What is it about a broker that should set an investor's mind at ease?
That the advice and the guidance that you're receiving from that broker is in direct support with your financial objectives. So the broker must take the time to get to know what those objectives are. And if you don't get that sense, you have the wrong broker.
What's the philosophy of Payne Weber?
We are a firm that believes in long-term customer relationships and that we will profit long-term from customer satisfaction rather than the number of trades we conduct each day.
Thank you, Joe.
Good presence of mind right here by Darrell Weiss. Knows that Martin Peralta can hit, but he's not blessed with great speed. Now, he loses his footing, but he says, if I get the ball over there to Desjardins, I got a shot at getting this guy. There's the stretch. Is he out? Oh, yeah. Just by an eyelash. Look for a moment, and that's what you give so much credit to umpires. You see the effort there by Weiss. That, to the way we look at it the first time, he would have looked safe. But the replay, no, sir, just had him.
Derek Stark, the catcher, steps in to open up the bottom half of the second inning. Fouls this one off down the third base side.
Well, if batting practice is any indication, this guy was hitting some rockets out of here in batting practice this afternoon over that shortened left field wall, shortened in height, not distance, since last year.
5 home runs this year with 29 RBIs. Swing and a miss, and he's down 0-2.
Obviously, the pitches in batting practice were a little different than the ones Rusty Kilgo's throwing.
It's one of the things also that the staff at California says about Desjardins. Holds up. Umpire says yes, he went around, so it is a strikeout on Stark. And let's take another look right here as he tries to hold up on the pitch, and the first base umpire said nope, you went around. 1 down to the bottom of the second.
Well, what Kilgo will do is get ahead in the count and then throw that split finger fastball. You can see the grip on it there, break down and away, and Stark with that big swing cannot hold up. Get another angle at it. Oh yeah, he went.
So 2 close pays, and the first base umpire done a very good job on the 2 close ones we see on the replay. 1 down to the bottom of the second, and Darrell Weiss steps in for California.
Here's one of the guys that in the California Golden Bear lineup that this left-hand pitching really affects. He's so much better left-handed hitter. He has just begun to switch hit, why they've dropped him down to 6th in the order.
Good contact man. Swung on, grounder to the shortstop, Listash, and there are 2 down to the bottom of the second.
I think that guy's watching with some interest, Ron.
Joe Arnold right there. Taking a look at this one. The head coach for the Florida Gators. They have Wichita State in our second game tonight. Brian Scott, the right fielder, steps in. You see the healthy numbers on him. Swung on and missed for strike 1.
Well, just early in the ball game, you'd look for these pitchers to be a little bit out of sync because of the importance of College World Series, but they're both pitching like it's an exhibition game. No pressure at all.
Nope, not at all. That's what I was alluding to back in the first, that it was just not ho-hum because obviously they're up, but they're not affected by College World Series jitters, which you see a lot of time in the opening round games up here. 1-1 pitch, swung on and missed for strike 2.
Rusty Kilgo's not a hard thrower, but you see mechanically. Most of your good pitchers make a good hip turn. Once again, land on the ball of that foot, not the heel. Good fluid motion.
Strike 3 called, and standing at the plate was Brian Scott as he couldn't believe it for a second, and 2 strikeouts in the inning, and California is down to the second. So we head to the third. No score. Let's take a break.
I can remember hearing from the first grade that college was what I had to do. And even though I came from a town where very few of the people eventually went to college, there was no question in my mind that the thing that I had to do was to attend college. I attended college at Fordham University in New York City. And I can remember personally being put on the dean's list, and not the good dean's list, the dean's list of warning. The thing that happened at that point was it really gave me a jolt because I recognized that I just couldn't perform or study in the same way as I did in high school. I really had to buckle down. The athletic department was very concerned about all of the athletes, and they gave me a tutor, another fellow on the team, and from that point on it was a breeze. I think being a college athlete has helped me tremendously in my business life. I often make references to sporting examples, and especially to a football team, where each person has got a pre-designed assignment on any play, and if they carry that out effectively, the team should score a touchdown.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
She was a redhead, about 5'6" tall.
And all of a sudden, this thing starts spinning, and it's going round and round.
So that makes me safe, because with my wife, I'll never be that way.
You still have your career, and you're frustrated. I mean, that's what you want.
Of course, that's just my opinion.
So money's no object.
Money's no object.
What are we going to do with our lives?
Well,
now?
basketball.
Yeah.
Levi's 100% cotton Dockers. If you're not wearing Dockers, you're just wearing pants.
And I'm still paying the loans off.
You got all the money in the world. I'd like to at least be your pool man.
No score as we head to the top of the third inning. Travis Willis on the hill for the California Golden Bears, and he will look at Spear. The catcher hits him on the first pitch, and the first base runner for the Sun Devils.
Spear was the MVP in the regional earlier this week. Hit 3 home runs, and I'm sure Willis wanted to hit the ball inside him, but not that far. And you see Spear just turn into it. Take one for the club.
Thought it was going to break a lot more than it did. Stepped into it or couldn't get out of the way. So he's down at first base, and Candelaria takes a strike. You talk about stories, that Arizona State has a number of them on this ball club. But probably the most impressive stat, Jim, as you were pointing out last night, the number 8 hitter, and he has 83 RBIs in the season.
Well, you won't find many lineups that have that kind of production down at the bottom of the order.
Squares around to bunt. Ball just outside. Pentland with the signs.
That's Jeff Pentland, the hitting coach. We'll get into some of his theories. He's been very successful as a hitting coach here at Arizona State.
Nobody out. Spear at first base almost throws it away. Good job by Stark that time to make sure that it didn't get through. Not really sure that Spear is a real danger to run.
Come on, Rico.
Ricky Candelaria, base runner was going. They had the hit and run on it. It goes through. Weiss couldn't get back in time. All the way over to third base is Spear, and heading into second on the cutoff man missing the ball is Candelaria. At Arizona State with runners at second and third.
Get a look at the pitch right here, Ron. Great job by Candelaria. You're right. Spear is not a base stealer. But with the hit and run, it doesn't make any difference. And with the second baseman, Weiss, covering, you see Spear look in. That tells you it's a hit and run. He's looking in to catch the flight of the ball. All right, he says, I can make it to third. Now the Golden Bears compound that hit and run by overthrowing the cutoff man. Candelaria gets to second base. Right here. You see Brian Scott with the best throwing arm on the club, but that's not the time you want to throw it to third base. Keep the double play in order and throw it to second.
So Barola with a 1-1 count, and teammates at second and third in Spear and Candelaria. At Arizona State with the first situation and scoring positions of the afternoon. Cal did get Lewis down to second base last inning. The first time that the Sun Devils have had a scoring threat. We have no score. We play in the top half of the third inning. Barola steps back in with a count of 1-2. Willis, curveball down into the dirt, evens it up at 2 apiece.
You see defensively early in the ball game, no outs. California coach Bob Milano is going to say, I'll give you 1 run right here. I'm not going to play in, cut the run off at home.
2-2 pitch swung on to the third baseman. Fretz has his runner held up, throws to first, and they get the out. And advancing is Candelaria as Spear comes across with the first run of the 1988 College World Series, and he scores it for Arizona State.
Well, pitcher Travis Williams has been relaxed early in this College World Series game, but defensively the Golden Bears have made a couple of mental mistakes. Candelaria right here was caught in a rundown, but after Fretz double clutches a couple of times, he said, I'll take the out at first. Almost too late of a throw. They had Candelaria trapped and would have been an easy out. Now the Sun Devils still have a man on third with 1 out and a chance to take a 2-0 lead. 2 mental errors defensively for California in this inning, overthrowing the cutoff man and not taking advantage of the rundown.
Lestache back at the top of the order, swung on, pops it up to the right side. DeJardin is there for the second out. So there are 2 down as Lestache again on the first pitch, Jim, and that's what he did back in the first inning. Swung on the first pitch, grounded out from Fretz to DeJardin.
Well, I think Jim Brock, the Sun Devil coach, said Lestache was one of the players that he thought would be very keyed up by this College World Series. It is an apt to swing at bad pitches, which he's done the first 2 at-bats. That's a big out right there for Willis.
John Finn grounded out back in the first inning. Third base to first. Curveball, strike ball. By the way, Travis Willis on the hit batsman just a moment ago. That is 15, and that's an NCAA record, Jim.
Not afraid to pitch inside, is he?
Nope. Candelaire, the base runner, down at third. Fastball, a little bit out of the strike zone, down low. One to nothing. Arizona State on top as they have scored here in the top of the third inning. Willis curveball delivered high. Spear let it off, being hit with a pitch. The NCAA record. Then Candelaire with the single, did the error. And then on the fielder's choice, Candelaire was caught in a rundown, but they did not play it out, and he made it to third. Down into the dirt. And again, Derek Stark with a nice job defensively.
Boy, this comes from hours of practice. Nobody works harder at blocking balls than catchers. Not catching them, just blocking them. And good effort there by Derek Stark. Just keep the ball in front of him, and that prevents the run from scoring.
3-1 the count on Finn. Only the second time of the ball game that he's gone to 3 balls and a hitter.
Talked before the game about Willis throwing the BP fastball around. That was it right there. A situation where John Finn was looking for something he could drive, and Willis just throws him a little powder puff up there and says, here, hit it.
So 3-2 with 2 men down. Drive to straightaway center, but Darren Lewis is right there. A couple of steps to his left, and the third out. But not before. Arizona State gets 1 run on 1 hit, and they move in front of the ball game by a count of 1-0. Let's take a break.
In the last 7 College World Series, over 97% of all the hitters came to the plate with an Easton bat.
As anyone who reads the Wall Street Journal can tell you, it takes money to make money. Specifically, it takes 47 cents a day.
Call 800-372-3000 for this great journal subscription offer. 13 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.75. Phone 800-372-3000 now for the Wall Street Journal.
Well, some of the fans here in Omaha, Nebraska, enjoying this Midwest sunshine. 1-0 Arizona State. Jumped in front of this one. This is how the Golden Bears got here to Omaha, Nebraska. Big win over Pennsylvania, and then look at the next 3, Jim. 1-run ball games, and in fact, you look back at their record this year, they were involved in 17 one-run ball games.
This team won 11 games in their last at bat. That's more than 25% of their wins.
That is keeping the foot to the pedal. DeJardin leads it off, the first baseman. Muthaler is on deck for Cal.
Here's that play we talked about when the Sun Devils scored. Could Fretz have trapped off Spear, could cut down Spear at home? They were playing the infield at normal depth. But right there, see, if he looks to home immediately, he's got Tim Spear at home.
Ground ball to the right side, base hit for California and DeJardin.
Judy.
So the first base hit of the afternoon for the Golden Bears, and the first baseman, Brad DeJardin, is down at first. Muthaler will step up to the plate.
Here's where you can look for Milano to begin to play hit and run, bunt him over, run, because Muthaler, not with a high average down there, but he could sacrifice the man over, and you got your better hitters and more speed at the top.
Kilgo checks the runner. First pitch, strike ball to the outside corner.
I don't have a clue.
1-0 Arizona State on top. They got that one just a moment ago in the top of the third. Rusty Kilgo, good look at the youngster from Hallsville, Texas. Pitch down low. Muthaler checking with the third base coach. Kilgo, quick snap throw back over to first base, back in time.
Got you thinking, Joe.
Desjardins. Comfortable lead off first. Jimmy's not really that far, but again, we go back to what we emphasized in the first inning, and that is the fact that Jim Brock knows how well Cal can steal bases and move how they try to play the games, and they want to make sure that they have them within the vicinity, so to speak. Pitch outside, 2-1.
Plus, with that injury to the finger of Tim Spear, Kilgo wants to give him every opportunity to throw that runner out. What Spear is very good at on pitches outside. There you see their stolen base out of 188 attempts. Those 133 are. So they are a speed team. Spear very good at jumping out from behind the plate and getting rid of the ball quickly and accurately.
Well, last night in talking with Coach Milano, not bragging on his ball club, but simply, you know, at least 5 or 6 guys in the lineup when he would say exceptional speed, and you have to believe that the way they're able to run. Swung out and missed.
That's a terrible cut.
See, this is the influence of a left-hander like Rusty Kilgo. Watch Desjardins right now. Now this ball is going to be delivered to home plate, but it freezes Desjardins for just an instant. That's one of the reasons Brock made the pitching switch. Linty Ingram not good at holding runners on.
2-2 count, nobody out, and again he goes back over to first base. We know one thing, Willis, his undivided attention has been right there. He's been in this ball game for all the throws he's already taken from Kilgo over at first. To the plate, 2-2, swung on and missed for strike 3. Muthaler went fishing on that one. That was well out of the strike zone, as you could see.
Muthaler, not a disciplined hitter. One of the reasons he hits down in the bottom of the order. You see him chase one there. Kilgo just doing a great job of getting ahead of hitters, then making the California hitters chase his pitch. Jim Brock likes it so far.
That's 4 strikeouts. He should for Kilgo. We're only playing in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Back to the top of the order, Todd Mayo, the left fielder, grounded out short to first, back in the 1st inning. College World Series, game number 1 from Omaha, 1-0. Arizona State on top as we play in the bottom of the 3rd. Both ball clubs with a single base hit so far in this one. Cal led off the inning with the base hit to the right side by Desjardins, and the strikeout of Muthaler. Mayo, the leadoff hitter, standing in right now. Pretty good average by Desjardins on steals.
Oh, yeah, we know you're going.
Mayo has the ability to snap the ball through the hole, which is wide open there with Willis holding Desjardins at first base, even off the left-hand pitcher.
Going to go back over again. Desjardins is the man I was talking about a while ago, that Coach Milano, as you see somebody who is keeping a box score of the ball game here in the stands. Foul ball to the right side, and again Desjardins broke back toward first base as the pitch came home. But Desjardins is the young man we were talking about that Coach Milano said that he has got all the tools and is going to wind up being a great one. But he still is trying to find himself a little bit, Jim.
Well, in that regional is when he began to show Bob Milano that he was the kind of player they thought he would be when he came to Cal.
1-1 count with 1 out. I'm just guessing because we don't keep it up here, but I would say that's at least 15 throws to first base, wouldn't you? Lays down the bunt. Gonna have to hurry. Kilgo holds up his throw very wisely, and Cal has got runners at first and second. On a 1-1 pitch, Mayo laid down the bunt, and it was near perfect.
This is the type of game California loves to play. Great bunt right there by Todd Mayo. No chance to get him at first or to get Desjardins at second. And this is the top part of their lineup that they have to make things happen if they're going to score runs and beat Arizona State. The speed of Mayo and Lewis and the power of Keel, who hits fourth today.
So Darren Lewis steps in. He walked in the first, made it down to second base before the inning was over on a strikeout of Keel. Left-hander delivers, swung on. They're going to try the double steal, and down at third, he is out. As Desjardins, just as Cal did in the regional tournament, took off for third base, and they got him.
Kilgo unloads this ball quickly. Once again, another mistake by the Golden Bears. Not a good jump at all by Desjardins. If you don't get a good jump, of course, your first instinct would be go back to second base. But with Mayo going towards second, he had to try it.
Lewis off the end of the bat. It'll dribble foul down the first base side.
So these early innings, Ron, have really been, from a mental standpoint, disappointing for Coach Bob Milano. That's been the strength of their ball club all year. They're a very intelligent heads-up team. They've made 2 mistakes defensively, and right there on offense, a base running error.
It goes back to the point we also made about these two clubs knowing each other very well. They're playing somebody else. Another club might have been surprised, even with the late jump, on going with the double steal. Down into the dirt, gets away from the catcher Spear, and down to third base is Todd Mayo.
You see Tim Spear try to sacrifice his body to keep this from being a wild pitch. Got over there, but with that crazy spin on the ball, a curveball or a split finger, it hops off to the side. It was a wild pitch.
Kilgo. Ball swung on, lifts a soft liner to right, and it's in there for a base hit. Lewis heading for second. Rumsey picks it up. He'll hold up at third, and in the interim, Mayo comes home to score the tying run here in the bottom of the third inning.
Well, he was playing way over toward the line, but this just dropped in where Rumsey could not get at it, and boy, it really points up. You see him trip over the mound there. Lewis would have had second base anyway, so no damage on that. But the Golden Bears score their first run and really points up the importance of that base running mistake.
Swung on, Brett's line drive to the second baseman to Higgins, and Arizona State is out of the inning, but not before. Cal comes up with 3 base hits and a run. We're tied at 1. Let's take a break.
When his team, the El Segundo Eagles, lost the 1970 state final, George Brett didn't lose his desire. He didn't give up, because George Brett has always had a will to win. And he's always had a Wilson.
Something remarkable happened when people around the country tried out the new, easy-to-use Kodak 35mm cameras. They took the best pictures of their lives.
What's all this about you selling the Market Street building? My client's still interested in that space.
We accepted Gail's offer this morning.
Hello, Jason.
You could have made a counteroffer.
If you had let me know what was going on, I would have.
But I called your office yesterday. I left you a message.
You left me a message?
The sights, the sounds, the unforgettable performances. Warm up for all the day's action with Game Day. Every Saturday and Sunday morning at 11:30 Eastern on ESPN.
As we head to the top of the 4th inning, some of the crowd here at Rosenblatt Stadium, we're tied at 1. You see Cal with 3 base hits. They all came in that last inning at Arizona State. 1 run on 1 hit. Here's how the Sun Devils got here. They faced up against Mr. Bennis, the #1 draft choice this past week of Evansville, and had to fight their way back through the losers bracket. And that is no easy task, Jim Cotton. Higgins leads it off in the 4th.
Give you kind of an idea how good a pitcher Andy Bennis is. They score 61 runs in the other 4 games, and he shuts them down 1-zip.
Line drive right up the middle. Lewis on the run. makes the catch, moving to his right, and there's one down in the fourth. Jimmy, going to be using the radar gun, the Jugs Super Gun, here at the College World Series, and look at some of these pitches and see how swiftly some of these pitchers are throwing the baseball. Steve Willis comes in. As you see, he fouled out his first time. Ball down into the dirt.
You showed that graphic just a moment ago that showed how Arizona State got to the regional. I should mention that in that final game, after Linty Ingram had beaten Pepperdine with a complete game effort, it was Rusty Kilgo that went 6 2/3 in the second game and nailed down the win.
Pitch to Willis, swung on and foul.
88. Wow. I can't drive a car that fast, much less throw a baseball.
Better not. Not even here in Nebraska. One man down as we're tied at 1 apiece. Top half of the fourth inning. Opening game of the 1988 College World Series. 1-1 pitch down into the dirt.
And there's what the radar gun, there is a purpose that it can serve. It can be damaging to young pitchers because they put so much emphasis on how hard they throw. But the differential between the changeup and the fastball and the slider and the curve can help you.
2-1 pitch, swung on. Lewis again in center field. Draws a bead, and there are 2 down in the fourth.
Give you an example on a big league level. Mario Soto for years was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and his changeup was like mid-80s. Now he hurt his arm. This year he's pitching very well. His fastball's down in the mid-80s. His changeup is in the low 70s. And they pay attention to that. So that is one aspect of the radar gun that can be beneficial.
Dan Rumsey, the right fielder, he flied out to left his first time up. And defensively, Cal moves the infield particularly short in second with an exaggeration to the right side. Jimmy. Ball just a little bit high.
Well, you see Mayo was able to run over into left center and catch the ball off the bat of Rumsey last at bat. That's why they swing him way around in the outfield and the infield. Respect the power and the ability of Dan Rumsey to pull the ball.
Willis outside with a pitch, and now he is out to 3-0.
Another 88. That's a better than average fastball. About 85, 86 is average.
3-0 delivery on the way, and that's a strike call. Two men down, top of the fourth. Arizona State won and California won. Tonight, Wichita State and the University of Florida in game number 2 of this opening day session. Swung on, fly ball to center field. Lewis is there, and he records all 3 outs in the fourth inning. So they're out of the top of the fourth. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1-1. We're tied.
You know what a flat old tater chip is, huh? It's like fishing where there ain't no fish. Ooh, but nothing flat about Ruffles potato chips. Ruffles got ridges. That's right. And they taste just as good as having them fish come jumping right in the boat, looking right on your eye and saying, Justin, me, I surrender. I guarantee.
Ruffles brand potato chips. The taste won't leave you flat.
Ooh, I caught the whole bunch. Hey.
No big deal. Tune-ups?
It's MasterCare Car Service.
Great tune-ups with a computer that talks to your car.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. MasterCare Car Service by Firestone.
I thought they just sold tires.
Sir, would you choose hamburger A Wendy's hamburger that's made fresh, or B, a pre-made hamburger that's been sitting around?
I'll take A.
Really?
No, B. I said B.
No, you didn't, sir. You said
Most people prefer fresh hamburgers like Wendy's, the best burgers in the business.
Well, as we head to the bottom half of the fourth inning, that pretty lady right there is Pat Brock, wife of Coach Jim Brock at Arizona State.
Well, she doesn't miss many games, Ron. In fact, Jim Brock said last night, with all the games that he's been kicked out of over the years, she has probably seen more Arizona State baseball than he has. I think she's missed something like 4 or 5 games in the time that Jim has been a coach.
Wouldn't doubt that that's true. Keel, Stark, and Weiss, the 3 gentlemen that we expect to see for Cal here in the 4th. And correct one thing that I said earlier. Kilgo, who, by the way, has thrown 12 balls, 27 strikes, given up 3 hits, has 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 3 ground balls. As you see, the gun shows 79 miles an hour on that pitch. I said he is from Hallsville. That's Linty Ingram. Kilgo is from Houston, Texas. Swung on and missed for strike 1.
Of course, that'll scare the scouts away right there when they see 79. Want to take time to look at his record. Yeah, that split finger was 72, but his record is 10-2. He wins.
Strike called by John Bible. Count goes to 1-2. Beginning to cloud up just a little bit in Omaha, but we see a lot of that this time of year. Just don't want to see any of the wet stuff. So
record is 10-2. He wins.
Strike called by John Bible. Count goes to 1-2. Beginning to cloud up just a little bit in Omaha, but we see a lot of that this time of year. Just don't want to see any of the wet stuff, so the schedule can go as it is down on paper.
Well, pretty tough to go through 10 days here without sprinkling the infield a time or 2, but hope it doesn't happen. They could have called them Blue and Gray, could have called them Taylor and Burton, could have come up with any 2 names you wanted to. Just 2 brackets.
I'll bet you that they didn't consider that one. Anyway, the situation is, the numbers to remember is that seeds 1, 4, 5, and 8 are the West. Seeds 2, 3, 6, and 7 are the East. Line drive into left field. On his horse is Candelaria. He'll never get there, all the way to the fence, as Stark is heading for second, and he'll stand up with a double. So Derek Stark, who went down on strikes back in the 2nd inning, delivers a clean double to left center field.
You saw Kilgo get him to chase the split finger out of the strike zone the last time, but this one down in the strike zone. Stark, with a long swing, catches up with the fastball from Kilgo and drives it into left center.
Just to say one other thing about the pairings here at the College World Series. As the pitch comes in, grounder to the shortstop. Listash gets his man, but not before Stark moves down to third base. There are 2 down here in the 4th inning. So Weiss grinds out. Stark down to third base on the fielder's choice. And there are 2 down. Anyway, Jimmy, the formula calls for 1 against 8, 4 against 5. That's the reason Cal, the number 8 team, plays Arizona State today. Wichita State against Florida tonight, and on as far as the other teams in the other bracket, which is called the East.
Well, 2 outs, I'll tell you, that's when you like to see your team be able to produce. With big 2-out hits, that's how they've been able to make it to Omaha.
Spear with a great job of moving out into the batter's box to make a stop on that one.
Well, just based on the series that Tim Spear had against Pepperdine Monday night, he moved up in the draft. There you see that great block right there.
Stark down at third base. Delivery swung on and fouled.
They thought he might go in the 15th round. He moved all the way up to round number 5. That's how much he has impressed the scouts with his play here in postseason.
Grounder to the first baseman Willis. He will step on the bag, and Cal strands a runner at third base. So we're through 4. And our score, Arizona State 1 and Cal 1. We'll be right back in just a moment.
The easy touch up for spots and grime. Stick it, it takes no time. Brighten up chrome, clear foggy glass. Stick it, it's clean and fast. Stick it.
Car Stick, the first car care products in a stick applicator. They're not for cleaning your whole car. Just pick out the spot, hit it with a stick, and buff. That's it. The quick, clean, easy way to touch up your car. The Car Stick, for when you don't need to clean the whole thing.
Stick it.
You want anything?
How about a light?
Oh, Bob, could you make that a Bud Light?
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
Did you see? No. Did you?
No. Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
Get the complete business news before you get to work. Watch Nation's Business Today with Carl Grant and Merrill Comer. Get the latest word from Washington, Wall Street, and the world. Make it your first order of business each morning, right here on ESPN.
Arizona State's Kevin Dukes balked at starting the 81 championship game, reasoning he'd be more effective in relief. He was right. When Kendall Carter faltered in the first, Dukes was called upon.
The 1-2 pitch from Dukes. And his rip came away empty, and Dukes comes in and puts out the fire.
Dukes was still on the hill when the game was over, pitching 8 1/3 innings of 2-hit relief. The clutch performance gave the Sun Devils the 81 championship. We're back again at Omaha, Nebraska. This is the opening game of the 1988 College World Series, and great to have you along. Ron Franklin along with Jim Cott. We are heading to the top of the 5th inning, and our score, Arizona State and California, all tied at 1 apiece. Martin Peralta will lead it off. He grounded out back in the second, his first at bat. Oh, a beautiful pitch right there, James.
Well, both these guys, Willis and Kilgo, have really been effective through the first 4 innings. Average less than 12 pitches an inning. That's outstanding. Stayed ahead of the hitters. The score reflects that, 1-1.
Well, you think he's not locked in with the concentration. You could see the stare into the plate. Strike called in the outside corner. But he is just locked in on Derek Stark.
There again, you see the liberal strike zone of home plate umpire John Bible. Not unfair, just liberal.
0-2 pitch on the way. Curveball off the end of the bat. Peralta was fortunate that he got a little piece of that one.
Both these pitchers today, Ron, West Coast pitchers. A lot of scouts will say you have West Coast pitchers and East Coast. The difference? The warm weather enables the West Coast pitchers to throw more breaking balls, better grip on the ball. As a result, they gain better command of it.
0-2 pitch to the leadoff batter, Peralta, outside for a ball.
See a lot of your East Coast pitchers that don't get outdoors till the middle of March, throwing the ball in gymnasiums and so forth. Primarily go with fastballs and don't have the command of the off-speed pitches that guys like Willis and Kilgo do.
Peralta again fouls it off to stay alive. Travis Willis looks back, checks his defense. Top of the 5th inning. This has been a fast-moving affair as both ball clubs scored their single run in the 3rd inning. Just high for a ball. For 15 against the Golden Bears this year for Peralta. Comes a little bit sidearm on that one, and the count goes full at 3-2. Not too many times this afternoon have we seen Willis go to 3 balls on the Arizona State hitters. Grounder up the middle. Muthaler moving nicely to his left. Gets his man, and there's one down in the 5th.
If you wonder why a guy that bats 9th in the order and is hitting .218 is in the lineup, this is why. Muthaler, an excellent defensive shortstop, gets a good jump on the ball, routine hop, but he's there for his defense.
Takes his time because he knows he's not going to be rushed, squares himself, makes the nice easy throw over to first. Tim Spear hit by a pitch, and in fact it was Spear who started the rally for the lone Arizona State run, and it happened back in the third inning. Strike call. Interesting sequence. The fact that Candelaria moved him up on the base hit, and then the overthrow of the cutoff man. He moved to third. 1-1 the count, with one man out, top of the fifth.
Obviously, Ron, you see that the split knuckle that Tim Spears been suffering from has improved. He now has that bandage off the finger. We saw him early in the game catching with the wrap on. Now it's off, but not gripped tightly around the bat.
Sure did. Again to the shortstop. Muthaler kicks in, and it's going to be an error on the shortstop. Knocked it down and kept it in front of him, but Spear got down the line pretty rapidly, and there was no time.
Well, we said Muthaler's there for his defense, but this time this one gets away from him. And another defensive mistake by the Golden Bears. The two back in the third inning helped Arizona State get their one run. They were not errors then, but mental errors. This one a physical error.
So that brings up Candelaria, who singled his first time up.
See if Brock tries the same strategy he did back then, put the hit and run on. Weiss was covering.
The runner is not going, gets away from the catcher, but Spear will stay at first.
Oftentimes as a pitcher, when you know that the team has successfully executed a hit and run the previous time, might change your pitching pattern. Willis is going to say, I'm not going to throw the ball out over the plate where he can hit it to right field.
Goes back over to first again. Willis more deliberate with the base runner over there at first. As we said last time, Spear not a great threat to steal, but as Jim pointed out, they put the play on with the hit and run. And that time they were looking to see if maybe the game's run. The count, one out, top of the fifth. Arizona State and California tied at 1 here in this opening game of the College World Series. Lays down the bunt. It's a beauty, and they're not going to get him. Runners at first and second for Arizona State, and Candelaria put it down as nicely as you can.
You talk about versatility. Here's a guy batting 8th, has 83 RBIs. The first at bat they put the hit and run on. He shoots the ball through the hole. Now this at bat, perfect bunt right down the first baseline. Willis got over there as quickly as he could. DeJardin made a move for it, then said, whoa, I better get back to first base. They had no chance. That was an absolute perfect bunt.
Barola, the number 9 hitter, comes up. Strike call. Mike hit into a fielder's choice back his first at bat. That was in the third. Checks the runner at second. Pitch is just outside. Evens the count at 1. Barola with the lone RBI for the Sun Devils. Came back in the third. Pitch out again, nothing doing. Arizona State, where you think these two clubs don't know each other and tendencies.
That's a bit of a gamble there on that pitch, because that puts Barola now with a 2-1 count. Puts him in a little better position to get a pitch he wants in a zone he wants.
Start with the signals. Willis checks the runners again, comes to the plate, and it's a strike called in the outside corner. Cat and mouse game here in this opening game of the College World Series. Good look at the two coaches. 6 times they played each other. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Boy, that's a huge one there. 2 down with runners at first and second. Let's take another look.
Good pitch by Travis Willis after he went outside to Barola. Now he comes back right there with the off-speed pitch down out of the strike zone and gets Barola way out front. He's gotten some big outs with men on base. Travis Willis.
Back to the top of the order, Pat Listash. 0 for 2 so far today. Down in the dirt, but no damage done right there, as Stark does a fine job again of keeping it out in front. Top of the 5th, if you just joined us, 2 men out. That's Travis Willis, the starter for the California Golden Bears. That's a ball inside, and he goes 2-0. For strike 1. 86 miles an hour on that pitch right there, according to the gun.
Well, you think he's losing it? Down 2 miles an hour.
2 miles an hour. It took just a little bit off here in the shade. Speaking of the shade, it's a great break, particularly as far as the right fielder in this early game, Jim. 2-1 pitch with 2 out, again down into the dirt, and you could see Willis disgusted with himself as either broke that one off just a little too quickly, but not where he wanted it as far as location. And we go to 3-1.
Well, look at the gap they're giving him in right center field. They're playing the right fielder Scott way in right, but Lewis is playing around to pull in a little bit deeper. So if Listash is patient enough to be able to get a pitch he could drive to right center, it'll be a double or a triple.
That's because they know them so well, isn't it? Delivery swung on and missed for strike 2. You know, Bob Milano told us last night that one of the things he told his ball club, he said, guys, this is the first game of the 1989 season because we're facing a team that we know so well.
Just like the start of the six-pack of 1989. Both these teams out of the
southern region of that Pac-10. Full count with 2 men down. The runners will be going. Pitch on the way, and he fouls it off.
What a credit to the baseball played on the West Coast. Probably not the exposure. Cal State, Fullerton, Fresno State, that some of the more glamorous schools get, but they have put 4 teams from California in this College World Series.
Spear at second base. Candelaria is the man at first. 3-2 delivery. Nope. Going to fake his throw to second base, and we'll rethink this one. Opening game of the 1988 College World Series. Tonight it's Wichita State and Florida. Line drive down the left side, and it's going to be foul. Got just a little bit in front on that one, Jim. Obviously got a pitch he liked.
He's a free swinger, and Willis has been getting him out front on the breaking ball, trying to work him in and out. Those are toughest hitters for pitchers to face. The guys that have no real weakness but are free swingers can handle a ball both up and down.
Stash has had some shoulder problems, but obviously has overcut it well. Pops it up to the left side. Muthaler signaling everybody else off, and there it is. Out number 3 of the 5th inning. So for Arizona State, 1 hit. They strand a couple of runners, and we're still tied. Let's take a break.
It's tough for me to stay close to the action these days, especially since I'm used to being the action. But now, I found the best way to stay on top of basketball and all my favorite sports is by reading the Sporting News, America's sports authority. The Sporting News keeps me fully informed and up to date. Puts me right in the center of the action. Whether your game is hoops or hockey, football or baseball, the Sporting News brings you the most coverage and the best coverage week after week. So the Sporting News, no matter where you are, puts you right in the center of the action.
Call 1-800-626-8300. That's 1-800-626-8300 and get 55 big issues of the Sporting News for 4 easy payments of just $7.50. You'll save 75% off the cover price, save 50% off the regular subscription rate. So call now 1-800-626-8300. That's 1-800-626-8300. 8300.
Tonight at ESPN, this is what the schedule looks like. We go to the second session here in this opening day. The Florida Gators taking on Wichita State, the number 4 ranked team. So we go back to this year's new format, Jim. 1 against 8. They are playing right now. Arizona State against California, and 4 against 5 this evening.
And how about that lucky mascot there in the California dugout? Like Kermit the Frog, didn't it?
We've just gotten word from down in the truck that Spear, when he is coming to the plate, is taking the bandage off. But then, as you noted, when he came up to hit the last time, obviously that's bothering him a little bit, and he had taken the bandaging off. So the trainer's got to be ready in between to either take it off or to retake it.
The Kansas City Royals will be happy to hear that that has improved. That's the organization that drafted Tim Spear in the 5th round. Yeah, lots of enthusiastic fans coming in here to Rosenblatt Stadium, the first of many here to start the College World Series. This is just game 1. Boy, it's been a good one. Good pitching.
Don't forget, Jimmy, over the next 5 days, we have 5 straight days of double headers here in Omaha, Nebraska. Then a single game on Wednesday, single on Thursday, depending on what happens in the double elimination. Drops the bunt down, but Desjardins is not going to get away with this one, and he will be tagged out by the first baseman. And there is 1 down here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Desjardins had a base hit back in the 3rd.
When you look at the home runs and RBI numbers of California, they don't impress you. This is the way they win ball games, by trying to beat out bunts, draw some base on balls, steal bases. And right here, Willis. A little extra shove right there. A little rivalry between these two teams. All of the California teams involved here at Omaha.
Hugh Thaler, the number 9 hitter. You see 78 miles an hour on the gun, the Jug Super Gun that will be using throughout the College World Series.
And that's Kilgo's fastball, so you know he is not a hard thrower. He depends on that split finger, the curveball, and the fact that he's left-handed and throws strikes. Good movement on the ball.
0-1 delivery way outside on this one. You know, Jim, we might start mentioning to people, for those who are coming down to Omaha from surrounding areas to see the championship game, initially they had said 2:30, but 12 noon a week from tomorrow is when the championship game is scheduled for. 12 noon, not 2:30. A few boos as the youngster muffs it in the crowd. This is a great scene in Omaha, Nebraska, and these people, as I said, they started hosting the tournament back in 1950. And they not only roll out the carpet, they make everybody feel so welcome and at home. And the kids just love it. I mean, it's not only a thing of coming to a national championship, but you are made to feel very, very welcome. And on the 80-mile-an-hour breaking ball, it is strike 3.
Well, I think this is Rusty Kilgo's heater once again. If it's 80, you see him inside corner. John Bible says strike 3.
Strikeout number 5 for Kilgo. So they're 2 down in the 5th for Cal. Todd Mayo had a single back in the 3rd inning. 1 for 2 today. Strike called by John Bible. Evens the count at 1 apiece.
You were mentioning the fans here. You've got fans coming from Arizona State, and they're campers, and all of these schools have great followings that come here to Omaha.
Grounder to the right side. Willis makes the play, throws over to Kilgo. Nicely done. And in the 5th inning, California is down 1-2-3. So we're still tied. Arizona State won and California won. Take a look at Willis one more time on the grounder. Waits for Kilgo to get in position, drops it to him.
This is a Nation's Business Update with Lee Thornton.
A slight upturn in unemployment in May to 5.6%. After a losing session yesterday, Wall Street hung on to early gains to close up almost 19 points. Trading volume was moderate. Charles Schwab and Company is cutting salaries of top executives and offering others shorter work weeks, trying to save money in a period of low trading volume. More Monday on Nation's Business Today here on ESPN.
Every day, Jack Taylor and Joe Donovan take the same road home. But today, they went a little out of their way.
Give you a hand.
crisp taste of Beechwood-aged Budweiser.
This bird's
For all the guys who go out of their way.
This bird's for you.
It is no big deal.
It's a hassle.
Oh, it's called MasterCare Car Service. Brakes, tune-ups.
Alignments?
No big deal. The mechanics are great. All their equipment, you'd swear they were technicians. And they stand behind their work 6 months or 6,000 miles.
MasterCare.
You're covered from Maine to Missoula. These guys are so good. Fixing your car is no big deal.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. MasterCare Car Service by Firestone.
But I thought they just sold tires.
Rosenblatt Stadium at Omaha, Nebraska. We're still tied at 1 apiece. John Finn leads it off for Arizona State here in the top half of the 6th inning. Numbers on him today, still looking for his first hit of this 1988 College World Series. Third at bat. Swung out and he pops it up to the left side. Fretz coming down and he's got it for the out. So Fretz calls off his catcher, Derek Stark. Makes the catch and 1 down in the 6th inning. Brings up Kevin Higgins. He grounded out first baseman to the pitcher in the 1st inning and then flied out to center back in the 4th. Looks at a strike call.
And we certainly want to pass congratulations along to Kevin Higgins, named the All-American second baseman today by Baseball America.
He is really a fine one. Listening with Jim Brock last night and talking about this Arizona State ball club. 10 home runs this year. And he said, yeah, he's got to be one of the premier second baseman in the country, and well noted in the fact that he was named to that All-American squad. One man down to the top of the 6th. Both clubs tallied a run in the 3rd, and that has been the extent of it so far. Swung on, fouled off to the right side. California with 4 base hits, Arizona State with 2.
Fans here in Omaha will get a chance to see several of the players named to the All-American team this year. Mike Fiore from Miami. We mentioned Kevin Higgins.
Takes one upstairs, and in fact, a pitch I'm sure that he would probably like to have back, but went after it, and the count is full at 3-2. Well, it must be a little light rain falling as you see the still photographer putting a rain slicker over that long lens on that camera. 3-2, 1 out in the 6th. Higgins inside, ball 4. So Willis Waxy at Arizona State with 1 down and has a runner down at first base, and that'll bring up Steve Willis, the first baseman.
That's why Jim Brock thinks that Higgins really is an ideal number 2 hitter. You won't see too many number 3 hitters be patient and wait for a base on balls. They're primarily hitters, not guys that get on and set the table. But Higgins really is a table setter more than a run producer.
Rain is coming a little bit harder here as we play in the top of the 6th inning. In fact, if you will look closely in the lights and also at the headgear that Willis is wearing, you could see the raindrops beginning to show up there. Now some people seeking refuge back up underneath the overhang of Rosenblatt Stadium. Willis is flied out both times up. One time to left, and back in the 4th, the flight out to center field to Darren Lewis. Something happened as just as Willis started to step in, you could see immediately put up the left hand and hollered time, and John Bible granted his wish. Stop play for just a moment. 0-1 to count with 1 out. Throw back over to first, back in plenty of time. So the inning started off with Finn popping up to the left side to the 3rd baseman. And then Higgins with the walk just a moment ago. And now Willis at the plate with an 0-1 count. Only 2 base hits by the Sun Devils have come off the bat of Ricky Candelaria, the number 8 hitter. to also remember that one of those two was a bunt. Good look at Higgins down at first. Comes to the play. Base hit to left field. Willis rounding second, but he'll hold up there. And the Sun Devils with runners at first and second and only one down here in the top of the sixth.
That ball up in the strike zone. That was a hanger. You could see the breaking ball come out of his hands and hang up and in. And Willis had a pitch he could get the barrel of the bat out in front of.
Dan Rumsey, the right fielder, with teammates at first and second and only one down at the top of the sixth. And I think maybe the rain is backing off just a little because some of those that went running for the overhang of the stadium are now coming back down to their seats. Rumsey has flied out twice. Curveball down in the dirt. Travis Willis working very deliberately with Arizona State, threatening here with runners at first and second and only one down in the top of the sixth. And also Rumsey steps out and takes a deep breath. Pitch in the way, up in the eyes for a ball.
He has lost the battle a little bit to Rusty Kilgo here. The first 3 innings they were kind of even, but now Willis in the 5th inning had to throw 28 pitches, put a couple men on, an error here, base on balls there. Even though they only have 3 hits up to this point, you can sense that he is losing a little command of this ball game compared to Kilgo.
That was Darrell Weiss, the second baseman, who came in to talk with him just a little bit, possibly if nothing else, just to calm him down some. 2-0 delivery, strike called to the outside corner. Good movement on that pitch, Jim.
We mentioned both of these pitchers, Willis and Kilgo, not power pitchers, but 4 or 5 different pitches, ability to change speeds, and once again that West Coast influence, pitchers that have command of those pitches at a young age.
You can see some of the raindrops on his headgear as Rumsey with a very open stance. And now time is called.
Critical pitch right here, 2-1. They've got the defense swung as they do every at bat with Rumsey, way around toward right center, yet they try to keep the ball away from him. So give him a little shot at that gap there in left center field.
2-1 delivery on the way. Swung on, grounder to the right side. Could be 2. Weiss gets 1, back down to first, double play. Cal is out of the inning on a nice double play. So for Arizona State, they squander a runner. They get 1 base hit, but they fail to push anything across. So we head to the bottom of the 6th. We're still tied. Arizona State 1 and California 1.
Suddenly, there's a whole new way of looking at sports sedans. The new Mitsubishi Galant. Its design is dynamic and spirited. Unlike Camry or Accord, Galant offers the world's most advanced electronic suspension, available anti-lock braking, and was voted Japan's Car of the Year. But Galant's most significant development isn't just the technology that's gone into it, but the feeling you'll get out of it. The new Mitsubishi Galant, with prices starting around $10,700. It's suddenly the obvious choice.
For every man who wears Brute deodorant, there's a woman who'll always be glad that he did. Because a man who wears Brute deodorant is nice to be close to. Brute, it smells like a man.
Great.
The Noid wants to make your pizza ice cold. But Domino's pizza is hot and fresh. Because they deliver in less than 30 minutes. Sorry, Noid. Domino's pizza delivers hot and fresh.
College baseball fans, if you can't make it to Omaha for the 1988 College World Series, here's your chance to obtain the official College World Series souvenir program. It's all here. The teams, the records, and special features sure to interest every baseball fan. Send your check or money order for $6 to College World Series program, P.O. Box 1988A, Lexington, Kentucky 40593-1988. Please allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
1-1 our score, bottom of the 6th. Those folks are not convinced with our weathercast, Jim Cott, that the rain is over, but I think the cloud is moving on through Omaha. Lewis got on to walk back in the first, then had a double in the third inning. 1-0 pitch, strike call.
Starting to mention that All-American team. The other player that will be here from Fresno State, first baseman Lance Sheblett. We talk about some numbers. He hit .401, 31 homers, 92 RBIs. He's the first baseman on the All-American team.
Rusty Kilgo with the 1-1 delivery down in the dirt. Jimmy, you want to hear something that's even more interesting? He started off with the Stanford Cardinal and then wound up transferring away from Stanford. Bob Bennett, when he called and said he wanted to transfer, said, you bet, we'd love to have you, because they had tried to recruit him in high school. And he winds up at Fresno anyway and plays a couple of years, and this year has been just a super year for him. Darren Lewis. Chopper up the middle. Gonna have to hurry with Lewis's speed. Second baseman on the play, and he's safe. Higgins did everything he could, but Jim, with that kind of speed, you knew on the Baltimore chopper that went right back over Kilgo's head that he was not going to have a chance.
Well, the only player that had a shot in this play is Pat Listash. See, he's coming in now. He's got to give ground. And right after Higgins makes the off-balance throw, he kind of throws up his hands and said, hey, that's my ball. Why didn't you let me have that one? Always give it to the guy that's got his momentum going toward the bag. Once Higgins fielded that ball, it was a good play, but the off-balance throw, he had no chance to get Lewis at first. Listash's ball all the way.
Fretz is the batter, still looking for his base hit. Yep, when you got a guy like Lewis up there, you better deliver it in a hurry. Lays down the bunt. Catcher will take it. No play at second. Goes down to first. And there's one down. So Spear came out, fielded the bunt, looked down to second base. There was no play there. His only play was to first, and Darren Lewis is down at second base on the sacrifice.
Give you an idea how tight both of these coaches are playing this game, going for one run. That's the number 3 hitter in the lineup. And in the 6th inning there, Bob Milano was using him to sacrifice the lead run over.
John Keel struck out in the 1st inning, grounded out second base to first, back in the 4th.
If that name is a familiar name and people look at the spelling of that name pronounced Keel, yes, that is the son of Carl Keel, former manager of the Montreal Expos and now involved in the player development for the Oakland Athletics. John, I believe, the only player on the California team that is not from California. He's from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Bottom of the 6th inning. We're tied at 1. Cal now with 5 base hits. Arizona State with 3.
He started the season, played some first base, played some third, but Fretz has become a better defensive third baseman, and Keel now used exclusively as a DH.
0-1 pitch, grounder right down the line. It's a fair ball. Finn with the long throw, and he got it. Oh, that's a nice play.
You'll see contrast in how to play third base in this series. Ed Sprague for Stanford, who you will see later in the College World Series, lays back, strong arm. Now John Finn, natural outfielder. He's the guy that dives, gets on his knees, quickness, picks up the ball, gets rid of it in a hurry. An example of it right there. I think he was blowing a bubble when he came up. Yeah, piece of cake. Blow a bubble, throw him out.
2 men out. Derek Stark, the catcher, steps in for Cal. Teammate in scoring position. That's Darren Lewis down at second. Kilgo working very deliberately. Looks in with the 1-0 count. 2 down. Bottom of the 6th inning. Right side. Second baseman Higgins is back. Makes the call, and there are 3 down. So for Cal, they strand the base runner at second base. They have 1 base hit. And as we head to the 7th, Arizona State 1 and California 1. We'll be right back.
An incredible name in electronics is attracting everyone's attention. Gold Star. After all, when you pay attention to what people want, people pay attention to you. Gold Star, the brightest star in electronics.
ESPN is now the proud home of Motor Week Illustrated, America's first and foremost weekly racing news show. Keep pace with the racing action on television's fastest half hour. If it goes fast, catch it on Motor Week Illustrated.
Well, not all plays show up in the box score, and yet are very important and affect the outcome of a ball game. Here's one that happened early, back in the third inning. Second and third, no outs, ball hit to Bart Fretz. Now look, you see Tim Spear in your picture. He was an easy out at home. Fretz never gave him a look. Now he's got Candelaria trapped, and he goes to first base. Made the wrong decision at that particular time. Arizona State got a run out of it. Candelaria on third with one out. Travis Willis worked out of that jam and held him to the run, but they might have been able to get out of that inning without a run.
Very true. And we put an asterisk by that play, and we'll see as we go to the top of the seventh inning, and it is Martin Peralta, the designated hitter for Arizona State. Spear is on deck. Candelaria is the man in the hole. One apiece, Arizona State and California.
We're going to take another look at that play, Ron. One of the reasons, you see the catcher moving out, Derek Stark moving out from behind the plate, and maybe Fretz did not think he was in position to field the throw.
Just foul with that hot liner down the third base side. Yep, you're exactly right, as Stark had moved out. So Arizona State tied the ball game as both scored one apiece in the third, and that's how we stand right now. Arizona State with 3 base hits, California with 5. Strike called in the outside corner. And again, I think we see that liberal strike zone right there.
I'll tell you, Willis, even though he's thrown 90 pitches through the first 6 innings, that big double play ball to Dan Rumsey has done a good job of keeping his team in the ball game.
1-2 pitch, pops it up to the left side. Left field, way back. This one's farther than we thought. Did he get it all? He did. Peralta with a home run to lead it off for the 7th inning. And Arizona State will go on top by a score of 2-1.
The Sun Devils gathered around at the top of this inning and had a little huddle down in the dugout. And this is the result. The breaking ball. You see Willis point straight up in the air. He thought it was a pop-up. He thought it was straight up the elevator shaft. Peralta's looking straight up in the air, but it got up, carried over the left field wall. Gives you a little idea of the strength of Martin Peralta.
Peralta with round tripper number 11 on this 1988 season, and he has put his teammates up by a count of 2-1. Top of the 7th. Tim Spear, the catcher, line drive left side, and it is just foul.
That does give you an idea of the power of Martin Peralta, because a couple things we ought to point up. They're using the Wilson ball in the College World Series. During the regular season, they use a ball called the diamond ball. Most of the coaches will tell you that the diamond ball will carry 20 to 30 feet farther than the Wilson ball. There is no wind conditions here tonight, so that was raw power on the part of Peralta.
1-1 the count, nobody out, top of the 7th inning. A leadoff home run by Martin Peralta. And Willis with the curveball that's down low, and the count goes 2-1. Arizona State with back-to-back base hits, the home run, and now the single by Tim Spear to open things up here in the 7th inning.
I think you're beginning to see the toll that it's taken on Travis Willis the last 2 innings. 28 pitches back in the 5th inning, and then had to work out of another jam in the 6th. And both of the pitches this inning, the one that Peralta hit out and that line drive by Spear, Not the quality pitches he was throwing earlier in the ballgame. Up in the strike zone, not as much on him.
Candelaria, the number 8 hitter, the left fielder, looks at a curveball inside. And if you just joined us on the telecast and have not heard some of the numbers that we've given earlier on this young man, don't think, well, he's the number 8 hitter. Well, he is, but, well, he also has 83 RBIs coming into the College World Series. Some kind of run production. Ball down low. 2-0. Joe Buckley warming up for the California Golden Bears. Down to the left field line. And now Derek Stark goes out to the mound as Cal will take a moment to talk it over with Travis Willis.
Well, what this probably is, Ron, is just buying a little time to give either Buckley, or they also have left-hander Frank Corral warming up down there. Buckley is the guy that they would use to come in if the game was still 2-1. Arizona State picked up a couple of more runs before Buckley could get ready. They would use Corral. Coach Bob Milano.
Buckley has appeared in 29 games this year, and as Jim said, the man that, should the Golden Bears want to make a change, is the gentleman that they would want to go to. Our situation, 1 run is in, and the leadoff home run by Martin Peralta. And now Jim Brock comes over to talk with one of the umpires.
Well, while James went out to talk with pitcher Travis Willis, Jim Brock had a little session with Jeff Pentland and Ricky Candelaria about what they're going to do offensively.
Comes to the plate, outside for ball 3.
Correct that. That's John Hughes, the California pitching coach that was out talking to Travis Willis.
Peralta with a leadoff homer, then the single by Spear, and that ball is outside for ball 4. Down to second base, Candelaria to first, and Travis Willis has got himself in a jam here at the top of the 7th inning. Hits are now all even, Jim, at 5 apiece. Arizona State has scored the go-ahead run to lead it 2-1. And Mike Barola looking for his first hit in this opening game of the 1988 College World Series. Good look at the runners and also the defense. Squares around the bunt, lays it down the first base side. Desjardins makes the tag, and the runners move up. Spear down to third, and Candelaria moves on to second.
California gives up the sacrifice and takes the out. If Desjardins let this ball go, yeah, it probably would have gone foul. But with the decision that he made right there is, let's take the out. You never know when you give away an out what might happen. You see right there, the ball on the dirt would have rolled foul. You give away an out, and the next thing you know, the hitter hits a double and you're 3 runs down. So most of the time you take the out when they give it to you.
Shortstop Pat Listash steps in, looks at a curveball high. Listash is 0 for 3 on the afternoon. Grounded out third to first in the first inning, then flied out both in the third and also in the 5th. Swung on, hits a heater down the left field line, goes foul.
Now, you remember, Ron, earlier in the ball game when they second and third, no outs, Bob Milano says, let's play back. We'll give them a run. Now there's 1 out. Second and third, they're already down a run, and we're in the 7th inning. No, they can't afford to give up another run, so they've got that infield right in on the edge of the grass. Try to cut down the run at home.
Left fielder Todd Mayo had come in inordinately close, and now they move him back. Curveball, strike call. So Listash working behind here as Travis Willis goes in front of the count. 1-2. There's the left side of the infield, and a good look at just how close they are.
These guys could shake hands.
1-2 pitch on the way, grounder to the left side. This is foul again.
So a lot of that has to do with the way that Willis is going to pitch Pat Listash. He's a free swinger out in front of the breaking ball most of the time, and that's the reason that Neuthaler is shaded over toward third base more.
Willis into the stretch, comes to the plate, just misses on the outside corner, and the count goes even at 2. You know, Jim, the point you make, and this is what we talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago on one of our ESPN weekly games, and the fact that you can set the defense that way, but that the pitcher does not throw to the proper location, you can look silly on defense. 2-2, 1 out, runners at second and third, foul ball, and he stays alive. John Finn is the man on deck for the Sun Devils of Arizona State, who have had a leadoff home run in the 7th on Martin Peralta's 11th blast of the year. Then Spear with a single, Candelaria walked. They were moved up on the bunt to the left side. They'll come home with the play, and now they got him caught in a rundown. He will be tagged out. They throw back to second, and now they got the base runner caught between first and second. Runner comes home, throw is there, and he is out for double play. So Cal dodges a very large Arizona State bullet. Sun Devils get 1, 2 on our score.
There are people on this planet with amazing powers. With the help of their computers and CompuServe, they access an incredible number of powerful services. And now you can connect your computer to CompuServe and take advantage of a special money-saving offer. CompuServe brings you a reference library, Wall Street, at-home shopping, free software, airline reservations, communication with people all over the country, and hundreds of other services. Plus $25 worth of usage time with your membership. Just call 1-800-543-9500. New members will also receive this comprehensive user's guide, a subscription to the monthly news magazine Online Today, and this free information-packed user's almanac. You get all this for just $39.95, and usage charges are as low as 10 cents a minute. Call 1-800-543-9500 now to join and receive your free user's almanac, and put the amazing powers of CompuServe at your fingertips.
But boy, you can save this one, Ron, put it up on the chalkboard. You can't make this play any better than the way California made it. Ground ball to Bart Fretz. Infield in, they're going to cut the runner down at home. Tries to get caught in a rundown, but Stark does the right thing. Chase him back to the bag where he came from. Look at this play right here. Weiss, short hop, picks it. Now, run the runner back to first until you see the guy commit himself. He's got him dead between third and home. Who covers the plate? Pitcher Travis Willis. Great play, got the Golden Bears out of trouble.
You know, not only the play, but another thing that won't show up in the box score tomorrow, Jim Cott, was the really nice play that Weiss made on the short hop. Because if that thing goes off his chest, then everything goes to the Dickens. 1 down, and Arizona State gets another run.
Well, that's what Rusty Kilgo has done through 6 innings. Great command of his pitches, as you see. Ball-strike ratio. And 5 hits, but just 1 run and a walk and a strikeout. But Willis has done an outstanding job the last couple innings of pitching out of some jams and keeping a game that could have been blown open at a 2-1 score.
Weiss, the young man we just talked about, who made the really fine play down at second base, helping turn the double play. And Jim, you had to be impressed not only after he fielded the ball, but running toward home plate, making his move toward the man, making sure that he was going to commit there or at third base.
Well, early in the game, they made a couple of mental mistakes that cost him that first run, but that inning was perfect. I think maybe the first inning was, the first run rather in the third inning was a little bit of a display of the tension in the early innings of the College World Series, someplace that a lot of these kids have never played. Frank Corral is going to loosen up there for California.
Lofted to right field into the sun. Rumsey with the glasses down, and he makes the catch. Now the situation that we talked about earlier with the cloudy sky minus the rain still was a better situation as far as the fielders are concerned, and particularly the guy in that 9 spot out there in right field. And you can see Rumsey coming down with the glasses, looking up into a very bright sky now that the sun has come out here in Omaha. Brian Scott, who also plays that same position, right field, struck out his first time back in the second. Grounded out unassisted to the first baseman in the fourth, looking for his first base hit. 2-1 Arizona State on top, bottom of the seventh. Opening game of the 1988 College World Series, and that's a fast strike on the inside corner.
Hey, look who's going down to the bullpen for the Sun Devils. Their ace.
Line drive right up the middle. Rolla moves over a few steps to his right, makes the catch, and there are 2 down in the bottom of the seventh.
Kind of a switch in strategy for Jim Brock. Normally Ingram, of course, as we talked about in the early part of the game, the ace of the staff, 17-4 on the year. Kilgo's the guy that comes in if the starter gets in trouble early. But if there's some trouble in the next 2 innings with a right-hand hitter at the plate, Brock will have Ingram ready to come in.
And he said last night he would not hesitate to do that. That was his plan from the word go. 2 men out, pitches up to DeJardin. He singled back in the third. Also grounded out unassisted to the first baseman. Rusty Kilgo. Southpaw's 0-1 delivery. This one down in the dirt. Jimmy, both of these ball clubs have been very efficient. Cal stranded 1 in the first, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 1 runner in the 6th inning. Swung on and fouled back. They had 5 base hits, and they have scored the 1 run. That was back in the third. Arizona has stranded a total of 4. Jim Brock, you have a feeling that regardless of what it looks like there on the face, that the boiler is burning as far as tension in this one, with his ball club leading only 2-1. Strike 3, and that will do it for California in the bottom of the 7th inning. So a couple of flyouts and the strikeout of DeJardin. And we head to the top half of the 8th inning. Arizona State on top by a count of 2-1.
Hi there. You looking for Mr. Right?
Give this guy a light. And Bud Light here.
Ask for Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Because everything else is just a light.
Thanks. Keep the chains.
It's no big deal.
Brake jobs?
It's Mastercare Car Service. Premium brake jobs. Terrific warranty.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. Mastercare Car Service by Firestone.
But I thought they just sold tires.
Sir, would you prefer hamburger A, a fresh Wendy's hamburger, or B, one that's pre-made?
You got a license to sell burgers here, pal?
No.
You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be.
Most people prefer fresh hamburgers like Wendy's, the best burgers in the business.
When his team, the El Segundo Eagles, lost the 1970 state final, George Brett didn't lose his desire. He didn't give up, because George Brett has always had a will to win. And he's always had a Wilson.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carrie Ross, and I'll be here with SportsCenter immediately following the game. We'll tell you about tonight's Celtics-Pistons matchup at the Silverdome, and Billy Martin is in hot water again. All this and more following the College World Series. Let's now go back to Ron Franklin.
Ron Franklin along with Jim Cotton. It's great to have you along, as this is the opening day of the 1988 College World Series, and you can see some of the crowd on hand for session number 1.
Well, a game dominated by pitching. There you get a look at the numbers on Travis Willis through the first 7 innings. 110 pitches. Not quite the command that Kilgo has had. His defense have helped him in the last couple innings. That's because he's been able to get Arizona State to hit the ball on the ground and give them a chance to make the double play.
John Finn is the batter who leads it off for the Sun Devils here in the 8th. Fakes the bunt. Ball is up high. Higgins is the man on deck, and then Steve Willis, the first baseman. Arizona State and Cal meeting for the 7th time this year. They split during the regular season 3 games apiece, and as we told you earlier, oddly enough, Cal swept ASU all 3 in Tempe, and then when they went to Berkeley, it was Arizona State winning 3 in a row there. Jim, we were told some horror stories by the guys from Cal about how tough it is to hit it out of that ballpark out there. They said don't look at their numbers and let that reflect on how good their hitters are.
Yeah, that Jim Brock was remarking during the year he had never seen anybody hit a ball over the center field wall at Evans Diamond in Berkeley. That's Jim Brock in your picture right there. And the next day, Peralta hit one all the way out of there. But it's right near the bay. The wind blows in. Very difficult for a power hitter.
Grounder through the hole. Base hit to the left side. And Arizona State, just as they did in the 7th inning with a lead-off base hit. For those of you who normally tune in for Sports Center at this hour, it's coming up immediately following this ball game in between games 1 and 2 here in Omaha with Kerry Ross. So stay tuned to ESPN Sports Center following game number 1 here in the 1988 College World Series.
Well, Brock's got an ideal situation here. This is the guy he wants at the plate with a runner on first and no out. Kevin Higgins. The reason he wants him at the plate is his great bat control. He can drop down a bunt. He can snap it through the hole there at first, between first and second.
Ben with a pretty good lead over at first, trying to bother Travis Willis, but not enough as it's a strike ball. Showing some of the intensity in this ball game right here and the concentration as Higgins steps out to get his sign. Retz has moved way in at third base. Squares around, pulls off the bunt, and the ball is out of the strike zone. And it evens the count at 1 apiece.
You see, Bob Milano has 2 left-handers warming up. Fred Corral on your left, just wiping his brow, and then Joe Buckley on the right. He's looking ahead of the Arizona State lineup to left-hand hitting Dan Rumsey. In case Higgins would bunt, they'd have a base open. They could walk the right-hander Willis, and they could bring the left-hander in to face Rumsey.
John Fenn, the man at first base, Kevin Higgins at the plate with a 1-1 count. Top of the 8th inning, Arizona State leading by 1. By Arizona State, Martin Peralta, with what appeared to be, even the pitcher pointing to the sky like he thought it was going to be a pop-up. And boy, it was popped up all right, but it just kept on riding right out of Rosenblatt Stadium. And that was home run number 11. And now Bob Milano is coming to the mound, and it would appear that's going to be it for Travis Willis.
Well, Fred Corral, not Frank Corral, but Fred Corral was throwing in the California bullpen. He has sat down. But Joe Buckley continues to throw. And, of course, Buckley would be the ace left-hander out of the bullpen. 9-3 this year with 5 saves. Milano could buy a little time right here to give Buckley a chance to get ready. And if he did bring him in against the right-hand hitting Willis, he always has a base open there if he wants to face the left-hander Rumsey. Of course, if he did that and didn't get a double play, they'd run into Peralta once again. That's why I think people say this Arizona State team is probably the best balanced team that they've had in quite some time, if not ever. Great speed, as evidenced by John Fenn stealing second base, and power from both sides of the plate in Rumsey, Peralta, and Willis and Higgins.
Well, Bob Milano is going to leave him in the ballgame. John Bible went out. Finally said, got to break up the conversation to bring somebody in, and he said, I'm going to leave him in the ball game. 0-1 pitch, swung on by Willis, fouled off.
Bob Milano allows Derek Stark to call most of the pitches, but when they get in tight situations, and this certainly is one, they will allow pitching coach John Hughes to send in the signs.
What did he say? Anywhere between 40 and 50% of the pitches is what they call from the bench.
A lot of times they still will give the pitcher the option to change it.
Move back to second base, holds on to the baseball. John Fenn is the man at second. Led off the inning with the single. The strikeout of Higgins, and Willis, the man at the plate, just misses low and outside. 88 miles an hour, so he has not lost velocity. The Jug Super Gun is what we're going to be using throughout the College World Series. Let you know just how hard these pitchers are throwing. 1-2 delivery down low.
I think after the trip to the mound by Coach Bob Milano, it's pretty evident that he told Travis Willis, don't give Steve Willis anything on the inside half of the plate to pull. He's been keeping the ball out away from him.
Well, that long foul ball on strike one that he hit down the left side. Maybe that's what bothered him. High fly ball, left field. Todd Mayo gathering a bead on this one. He's got it, and there are 2 down in the 8th inning. So Willis flies out to the left fielder, and that brings up Dan Rumsey. He's still looking for his first base hit. Flied out in the 2nd, also in the 4th, and then hit into a very big double play in the 6th inning.
Now what are you going to do here? Walk Rumsey to get to the guy that has hit the home run that put Arizona State on top, even though you're playing the percentages right against right. But tough decision for Bob Milano, because he's got the 2 best power threats in the Arizona State lineup. Rumsey from the left side, Peralta from the right. They are going to walk Rumsey.
Good call, Jim Cott. So this will put runners at first and second with the Finn down at second. Rumsey with the intentional walk, and I think we'll see probably Joe Buckley coming out of the bullpen. It's Corral who was down there still loosening, so it's...
Well, I would not think they would bring him in to face Peralta. He's only getting ready in case things get out of hand here and they have to get Willis out of it. Obviously, you'd want the right-hander against the right-hand hitter. One thing you want to look for here, Peralta is an exceptional breaking ball hitter. Bob Milano is huddling with his pitching coach, John Hughes, right there. He has a very long swing, which most of the guys with a long swing are vulnerable to the fastball in the inside part of the plate. But Peralta can handle the off-speed pitches very well.
Martin Peralta, a towering home run, sends this one foul down into the Cal dugout, down to the Cal bullpen. Peralta grounded out in the 2nd, also in the 5th, then hit that home run in the 7th inning to put Arizona State on top by 2-1. At first, John Finn down at second for the Sun Devils. Hits in the outside corner, called strike. So with 2 men down here in the 8th inning, Travis Willis working in front of Peralta. See what he comes up with, Jim, in this 0-2 count. Strike 3 called in the outside corner. So Travis Willis with a fine job of coming out of quite a jam. Arizona State strands a couple of base runners. We head to the bottom of the 8th. It's the Sun Devils 2 and Cal 1. Let's take a break.
Open up the world outside. Bring it closer in. Expand your own horizons. Go where you've never been.
With Georgia Pacific's Your Guide to Building a Deck videotape, you can open your home to more living space and greater resale value. It's over 20 minutes of simple step-by-step instructions that give you the confidence to build it yourself. Your Guide to Building a Deck shares GP's years of experience as a building products industry leader. Call 1-800-554-1700 and get your tape for $19.95 plus $2 shipping and handling. You'll also get a 42-page deck booklet and a Stanley chalk line and level, all at no additional cost. So come on, order now and start enjoying your own deck.
Start taking those first steps towards lifelong memories. Let Georgia Pacific help you build great possibilities.
Order your videotape, booklet, and tools today. You can use Visa or MasterCard. Money back if not completely satisfied.
ESPN's live presentation of the 1988 NCAA College World Series has been brought to you by MasterCare Car Service. With 1,400 locations nationwide, finally taking care of your car is no big deal. By Gold Star, the brightest star in electronics. By Wendy's Old Fashioned Hamburgers, the best burgers in the business. And by Wilson Sporting Goods Company, where there's a Will, there's a Wilson. Rod Franklin along with Jim Cott, and it's good to have you along at this, the opening game of the 1988 College World Series. And 2-1, we've got a dandy going in this first one. Arizona State leading by 1. as Cal comes to the plate in the bottom of the 8th, and they're running out of time. Jim Cott.
Kind of surprised right here. Muthaler is in the lineup for his defense, not for his offense. And 1 run down in the 8th inning, they are allowing him to hit. Jeff Kent, who plays some shortstop, only hitting a .91, but he does have more power. And then the hitter that they would use, Pete Fondersmith, is the guy they would bring off the bench in this situation.
Swung out and missed. 1-2 the count.
Well, he's only registered 79 on the Jugs gun with the fastball, but this is the reason the Bears only have 1 run. Good command of the off-speed pitches.
Base hit to left field. So Muthaler, obviously his coach knows him well, leaves him in the lineup at a leadoff single by Cal here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. And now look for the games to start.
Well, so much for percentages. You know, you can talk about numbers and percentages and odds, but here's a guy, Mike Muthaler, hitting .218, has struck out and looked bad against Kilgo his first 2 at-bats, gets a leadoff single to put the Bears in a position to tie the game. Don't try to figure this game out, because you can't.
Back to the top of the order, Todd Mayo has a base hit this afternoon. Scored the first run of the afternoon, in fact, for the Golden Bears.
Pretty obvious right here. The Sun Devils looking for that bunt. They have John Finn almost by the time the ball is delivered. He's halfway down Mayo's throat.
Comes to the plate just outside. Ball 1.
Mayo, with great bat control, can elect to do a couple of things right here. With Finn charging that much and committing himself, if he tries the old slug bunt, just punches it down the third base line, the Golden Bears will end up with men on second and third.
1-1 pitch, lays down the bunt. Dives on the line, and then catcher Tim Spear took quite a chance, Jim, as he swatted it across the line. And maybe it's because he saw daylight between the line and out of play. But he was very close.
I think more than that, he was screened out of the play. When Mayo drops the bunt down, he runs out into the infield. He screens Tim Spear from seeing the ball. Now, by the time he picks it up, right there, he's got to make a quick decision. First of all, it would have been difficult throwing Mayo out at first base, and he did the right thing. As soon as it was fouled, he quickly picked it up and got it out of play.
So we're back to square one. Muthaler, the base runner for Cal, down at first. Todd Mayo, the top of the order for Cal. And now it's time for a conversation, because the moments are coming down to a precious few as far as the Golden Bears are concerned. We're in the bottom of the 8th. They're down 2-1 to Arizona State. They need to take advantage of this leadoff single by Muthaler.
Well, with Keel and Fretz coming up, they have their ace, Linty Ingram, along with Blas Minor, warming up down in the Sun Devil bullpen.
He'll go with a long look in. Take a chance on buttoning with a 1-2 count?
I wouldn't think so with a 2-strike count, but who knows if he's got confidence in Mayo's bat control.
Squares around, comes off of it, pitches low. And you can see Mayo look to the ground as if to say that was maybe a little closer than I thought it was going to be.
Boy, it's a low percentage play, because John Finn can come right down there. He knows if Mayo fouls it off, he's out anyway. Mayo's only struck out 15 times, and if they let him swing away, he's got good bat control.
Bunts it, lays it down to third base. Finn's going to second. He gets him back to first, not in time for the double play. So Muthaler is cut down at second. Mayo down at first.
Well, that's why that was a low percentage play on the part of Bob Milano. 2-strike count. Mayo had already committed himself. Finn charges, makes the right play at second base. They had Muthaler easily. The only thing this does for him is Mayo is a base-stealing threat. So to make up for not executing the sacrifice bunt, if he steals the base, it puts the runner back on second base in scoring position with just 1 out. Let's see what he does.
Brings up the speedy Darren Lewis. 2 for 2 on this afternoon in the opening game of the College World Series. And he's got him made aboard. strike one called on Lewis. But if you just joined us, Arizona State scored one in the third, as did Cal. And then in the seventh, it was a long home run by Martin Peralta. That's the margin right now. Also, if you turned on looking for SportsCenter, Kerry Ross will be coming up immediately following this game one. And tonight we come back to Rosenblatt Stadium, and Wichita State will face off against the Gators of the University of Florida in game number 2. All of these Western Division teams, 1 against 8 this afternoon, and seeds 4 against 5 tonight.
Here you really see the influence of Rusty Kilgo pitching today instead of the right-hander Ingram. See, Mayo, an excellent base stealer, cannot read Kilgo's move. He's going back to first base.
Comes home, ball high. Talk about deliberate play. Buddy, this is where it gets tough. Everybody looking over signs from coaches and catchers and what have you to make sure that there are no mistakes made right now with the 2-1 ball game.
California's used to this. You mentioned 17 one-run games they've been involved in. They've won 12 of them and 11 wins in their last at bat.
Comes to the plate, swung on, hits behind the runner, base hit. Heading for third base is Mayo, and he is there in plenty of time. California with runners at first and third and only one down in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Great job by Lewis. Mayo looks in, hit and runs on. Lewis takes the pitch outside, just pokes it into right field. Now here's a key play right here by Arizona State. John Finn on a high bounce keeps his body in back of the throw right there, keeps the ball in front of him. Otherwise, Lewis would have been able to advance to second base. Not a wise decision there by Rumsey throwing the ball to third base.
Bart Fretz, the third baseman for the Cal Golden Bears. And now the action really heats up down in the bullpen for Arizona State. Ingram and Minor are the two guys who are heating. Situation, runners at first and third, only one down. Cal trails by a run. Fretz squares around to bunt, and he fouls it off.
Well, we're seeing some 1959 Chicago White Sox baseball right here. Bunt, walk, steal. You have your number 3 hitter in the batter's box with a chance to take the lead. Arizona State, surprisingly, playing their defense at double play depth. I think Jim Brock feels that Bart Fretz does not have the speed to beat out a ground ball. They can turn 2 if they get a ground ball.
Mayo, the man at third base. At first, Darren Lewis. Count goes even at 1 apiece.
You would really think with a 1-run lead here in the bottom of the 8th that you would bring your infield in and try to cut that lead run down at home. Brock says, no, I'm going to gamble for the double play.
1-1 pitch to Fretz, fouls it off. And Kilgo works in front with a count of 1-2. Darren Lewis. Well, he can just fly down at first base. Fretz with a 1-2 count, 1 down. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Kilgo decides to step off. Not going to come to home plate with this one. Pitch out, and they got him caught, and he is going to be tagged out as they were going to try the delay steal. Lewis is tagged out when he fell down, and there are 2 down in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, if the team that makes the fewest mistakes is supposed to win, then Arizona State should win. Here again, another mistake right there on the part of California. You see Lewis, after sliding, look up and find out where his base running partner is at third base. He's still on the bag.
2-2 pitch, swung out and missed for the 3rd strike. And for Arizona State, you talk about dodging a bullet. They have just done that in the bottom half of the 8th inning. For California, they strand a base runner. They had 1 hit 2-1. Arizona State on top.
The Noid wants to make your pizza ice cold. But Domino's pizza is hot and fresh. Because they deliver in less than 30 minutes. Sorry, Noid. Domino's pizza delivers hot and fresh.
Round of lights here?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Let me know when you're ready for another round.
The answers to your long-distance questions are never more than a phone call away.
Just give me the dates, and don't worry, we'll solve it.
AT&T customer representatives are always ready to help you with information on bills, discounts, and the AT&T card. And you can call on their experience 24 hours a day.
Thanks. That's one less thing that I have to think about.
We're reaching further to bring your world closer. AT&T, the right choice.
Well, this is the schedule tonight at ESPN. Immediately following SportsCenter, we'll come back here to Omaha, Nebraska in Game 2 on this first day of the College World Series. The Florida Gators will take on the Shockers from Wichita State. But as we mentioned, Kerry Ross is standing by with SportsCenter. That will happen immediately following our ball game here. Top of the ninth inning, Spear, Candelaria, and Barola for Arizona State, the scheduled hitters. We talked about the stats of the California Golden Bears and what they have done as far as one-run games and coming from behind, Jim, particularly in the bottom of the ninth inning. But you look at that stat by Arizona State.
Well, that should make for an interesting bottom of the ninth.
Strike call.
Rusty Kilgo has been just phenomenal in the clutch. He got Fretz to chase a bad pitch there to end the inning, but once again, California with a base running miscue that has taken him out of chances to try to take the lead in this ball game.
Inside corner, strike 2 call.
Going back to that play to end that inning, Lewis's proper play would be if Mayo did not break for home to get caught in a rundown, at least down there, and give him a chance to score the run instead of sliding right into the tag.
Willis gets the ground ball to the left side. Almost bad hops. Fretz does a nice job, and they get him on the tag. Put an asterisk by that one, as Desjardins did a great job of taking what was a high throw, but you can't really fault Bart Fretz because it looked as though it took a bad hop right off the edge of the infield grass.
Well, you could see him kind of ease the ball over there because he had a lot of time with Spear, who is not fleet of foot. Tough call there by first base umpire Dale Williams, who had to judge whether or not Desjardins put the tag on or whether he didn't. You take a look. See him kind of goose that ball over there. That's the throwing errors that are made most frequently when you have a lot of time and you don't put the real good stuff on the throw.
Ricky Candelaria has a couple of base hits. He walked in the 7th. So he has made his presence felt as far as being on base for Arizona State today. 1-0 pitch outside.
Boy, real gutty effort today by Travis Willis. I mean, he's been in and out of Dodge about 4 times, right on the verge of getting knocked out of the game.
Fly ball, straightaway center, pretty well hit. Darren Lewis on his horse, looking back, and can't hold on. Off the wall, falls to the warning track, and coming for 3 is Candelaria. He'll make it standing up. As Darren Lewis, at the crack of the bat, went to deep left center field. Appeared as though he had come under the ball and it was just a little bit too far for him.
Well, Ricky Candelaria, free spirit, free swinger. Look at this baby, down in the strike zone and away from him. Lewis on the run, thinks he has it measured, makes a good effort right there, almost gets it in his glove. Just hit the heel of his glove, does not bounce far away, and Candelaria has a triple. Boy, that ball was smoked. That's 420 out there to dead center.
So Candelaria at third base with 1 down as we play in the top half of the 9th inning. Strike call. Mike Barola.
Of course, with 1 out here again, California is going to bring their infield in. They cannot afford to give up another run.
Right field on the run. Scott can't get there. Falls for the base hit. The run will score easily. Into second base with a stand-up double in Arizona State with an insurance run as they go in front by a count of 3-1 in the top of the 9th inning.
Well, Mike Barola, a couple big RBIs, one on a ground ball where Fret's indecision at third base led to the first run. But here with an opposite field double to give Rusty Kilgo a little breathing room. Big hit for the Sun Devils. How about Candelaire? 3 for 3 with a base on balls.
Listach back to the top of the order. And they go back to first base.
How about this call? Now, when's the last time you remember seeing a hitter get called out for missing first base? They appealed to first base. They said Barola did not touch it. And they appealed. First base umpire Dale Williams had gone out to right field to take a look at the play in right. So the home plate umpire's responsibility, John Bible, was to be down at first base. He said Barola didn't touch it. Won't see that play called very often.
So the situation, Barola has been erased on the appeal play. And as Listach looks in, the discussion continues as Jim Brock got his player back, continues to talk with John Bible. That will be the end of discussion.
So Mike Barola knocks the run in, Ron, but had that been, of course, the third out, put out at first base, it would not have scored.
2 outs, swung on. Up the middle, base hit. Listach with his first base hit of the afternoon. Here with the top of the 9th inning to keep it alive for Arizona State with a 2-out single.
Well, and that prevents Barola from scoring what would have been the 4th run. So a big play there. Mike Barola, in his enthusiasm, ran around first base without touching it, and it cost the Sun Devils a run.
Listach got it off the hands, put it right up the middle. A lazy short pop, and it just went out beyond the infield for the single. Finn, who's 1 for 4 today, steps in. You see the pitch out by Cal.
That was, we haven't talked a great deal in this game about the influence of the aluminum bat, but that definitely, Ron, was an aluminum bat hit. The little dunker there by Listach.
No doubt about it. And the little dunker is the best description for it. Throw back to first, back in plenty of time. Candelaire, what a day he has had. 3 base hits, and as Jim mentioned, also got on base by way of the walk. Squares around a bunt, runner is on his way. Huge jump, and he's in there with time to spare. Listach down at second base. And he got this one off Travis Willis.
You see he gets a good jump. Willis with the high leg kick. And then the head first slide, the throw short hop, and Listach is in there easy. Another good play by Weiss, keeping the ball from going into center field.
Not only that, but keeping the cleats off his arm. Didn't have much space there. So with 2 men out, Arizona State with a runner in scoring position. They've already tallied 1 in the top of the 9th, an insurance run to go in front by 2, 3-1. Drills it right up the middle, base hit. And the run will score. Arizona State will go on top by a count of 4-1 as Listach, following the stolen base, comes around easily.
Well, for Arizona State, that takes a little heat off Mike Barola. In fact, if the Sun Devils go on to win this game, they're going to kid Barola about not being able to touch first base. There you see Finn appear to be tied up on that ball. And now let's see his reaction. Yeah, got another RBI. Make it 4-1.
Kevin Higgins will come up, the second baseman. He walked back in the 6th inning. Does not have a base hit today. So Arizona State, as you get a good look at Bob Milano coming out to the mound. Arizona State, with 2 big runs here in the top of the 9th inning, has broken up what was an extremely tight ball game, and now they have some insurance with a 3-run lead. Total hits on the afternoon, Arizona State 4 runs on 9 hits and no errors. And for the Cal Golden Bears, 1 run on 7 hits and 1 error.
Give Buckley and Fred Corral the Otis Elevator Award. These guys have been up and down about 4 times today. That's Buckley right there, who's been on the verge of getting in the ball game a couple of times. Yeah, he's ready. He's just kind of looking in and say, you want me or not? Okay.
Well, that's going to be it for Travis Willis. So let's take a break on the pitching change. 4-1, Arizona State on top. We'll be right back.
Dutch Boy Satin Finish has the look that gets the looks. The look that's today's hottest decorating trend. You can see why it's worth more.
Dutch Boy, he works hard for your money.
You know what a flat old tater chip is, huh? It's like fishing where there ain't no fish. Ooh, but nothing flat about Ruffles potato chips. Ruffles got ridges. That's right. And they taste just as good as having them fish come jumping right in the boat, looking right on your eye and saying, Justin, me, I surrender. I guarantee.
Ruffles brand potato chips. The taste won't leave you flat.
Ooh, I caught the whole bunch. Hey.
So Travis Willis comes out in the 9th inning with 2 out. Don't forget, for those of you waiting for SportsCenter, it will come up immediately following our opening ball game here from the College World Series. And then after SportsCenter with Kerry Ross, we'll be coming back to Omaha, Nebraska in game 2 of this opening day session. This evening's contest between Wichita State and the Gators of the University of Florida.
Now there's Joe Buckley, junior left-hander, 6'4", 205 pounds. He's from Walnut Creek, California, right outside San Francisco. He's had a great year, 9-3. Fastball, breaking ball, and will throw an occasional palm ball. And he's coming in right now, of course, to face the left-hand hitting Kevin Higgins.
Another look at Travis Willis. The numbers on him: 8 2/3, 4 runs, all earned, 9 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 1 hit batsman.
He's talking to their good luck charm down there on the bench. He did do a great job. He was in trouble from the 5th inning on, but good defense and good pitching just kept getting out of it, but this inning had caught up with him.
And of course, he's responsible for John Finn over at first base. 4-1, Arizona State on top, the #1 seed in the College World Series. Cal, the #8 seed. Buckley misses on the pitch. Count goes 1-0. 2 men down, 2 runs across, top of the 9th for the Sun Devils. Finn not taking what you would call a real stingy lead over there. As Arizona State, since they have broken it open, trying to trouble the pitchers just a little bit. Now with the form of Joe Buckley. Comes to the plate, grounder to the right side. It's going to be just foul. Higgins going through the signs before he steps back in. Buckley steps off. Well, Cal has got their work cut out for them, Jimmy. They have had some real wonder stories this year as far as coming from behind, and they're going to have to dig deep into their bag of tricks if they want to stay in the winner's bracket in this one. Down 3 right now.
Well, Kevin Willis pitched an outstanding, or Travis Willis pitched an outstanding ball game, but their mental errors, both defensively and base running, is what's costing this game.
Fly ball straight away center. Darren Lewis coming under this one, makes the catch, and that will do it in the 9th inning. but not before. Arizona State tallies 2 runs on 3 hits. And as we head to the bottom of the ninth, 4-1, Arizona State.
In the last 7 College World Series, over 97% of all the hitters came to the plate with an Easton bat.
Opportunity can't knock unless it's on your doorstep. Subscribe to the Wall Street Journal.
Call 800-372-3000 for this great journal subscription offer. 13 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.75. Phone 800-372-3000 now for the Wall Street Journal.
Welcome back to Omaha, Nebraska. Ron Franklin along with Jim Cotton. There you see the score. Bottom of the ninth inning, and Arizona State on the verge of moving into the winner's bracket. And for the California Golden Bears, they are on the brink of moving to the loser's bracket. 3 outs away, and they're down by 3 runs. Keel with the ground ball right across first base. Foul ball.
Well, that's a tough call right there for umpire Dale Williams. He's got to wait till the ball gets to the bag and then see where it hits. Very close to being a fair ball. Just missed going over the bag and hit in foul territory.
Keel still looking for his first base hit. And boy, what a timely one it would be right here as far as Cal is concerned. He struck out in the first and is grounded out in the 4th and also in the 6th inning.
Arizona State goes ahead and wraps this up, Ron, which they have done 54 out of 55 times when they're leading in the 9th inning. What an advantage that gives them. Linty Ingram be available for game 2.
Swung on, deep drive, left field, way back. Did he get it all? Yes, sir. Home run. John Keel with a leadoff home run for the California Golden Bears. And don't go away.
That kind of makes that triple that Ricky Candelaria got and the subsequent hits by John Finn to give Kilgo a little bit of a cushion.
Home run number 9 on the season for John Keel.
Ed Kilgo gets this pitch just a little bit up in the strike zone and on the inside part of the plate. Good swing by John Keel. No doubt about that, baby.
So we got a 4-2 ball game. Still nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Strike call. Derek Stark, the catcher. Struck out in the 2nd, doubled in the 4th inning. And flied out back in the 6th. One pitch inside and low. So Kilgo 3 outs away. But now he only leads by 2 and a line drive right up the middle. Jim Cott, base hit. And California showing why they have so many times this year played comeback baseball and been successful.
Well, if you want to play with the percentages, you look at Blas Minor and Linty Ingram. We mentioned Arizona State 54-1 when they lead after 8 innings. On the other hand, California 11 wins in their last at bat, 12-5 in 1-run games. And Kilgo, used primarily in long relief, goes anywhere from 6 to 7 innings a great deal, but not 9. First game he has ever started for Arizona State. First 28 have all been in relief.
So our score 4-2, still nobody out. Derek Stark with the single, and that brings up Vice or Kevin Brown. Is it
Kevin, Brown will go in to run for Derek Stark.
And Darrell Weiss, the second baseman, will step in for the Golden Bears.
And cousin Dub Kilgo will take a walk to the mound to talk with Rusty Kilgo. Haven't had a chance maybe to bring you up to date on the Kilgo connection. Dub Kilgo coached at McLennan Community College. Has been responsible for bringing a lot of good players here to Arizona State. Rusty Kilgo being one of them. Linty Ingram, Pat Listash, Tim Spear have all been a part of the Kilgo connection, they call it at Arizona State. What they're talking about right now, in addition to giving Ingram time to warm up, is the infield defense.
So they will make the pitching change. Don't forget, as we mentioned, SportsCenter is coming up immediately following this ball game. Let's take a break. Arizona State 4-2. We'll be right back.
We're in Berlin, Connecticut, where hardware store owner Mark Fanoff is helping a customer choose exterior stain.
Look, I want a stain that's going to last.
And you want Xyrene stain?
What about those other brands?
Not if you want a stain that's durable.
Really?
Come on, I'll show you my house. I used to restain every 2 years until I tried Xyrene stain.
How long ago was that?
That was over 5 years, and it still looks great.
It really does.
I use Xyrene stain. That's why I recommend it.
And now buy 4 gallons of Xyrene stain and get 1 free at participating dealers.
It's no big deal. It's a pain.
No, Carrie, it's called a Master Care car service.
Brakes, alignments, tune-ups,
The works.
it's no big deal. And a 6-month or 6,000-mile warranty covers parts, labor, wherever they do Master Care service.
From Seattle to Schnecksville.
Sounds right, this Master Care.
So right that fixing your car is no big deal.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. Mastercare Car Service by Firestone.
I thought they just sold tires.
What if you just joined us? Here's the situation. 4-2, Arizona State on top. They were cruising. They got what appeared to be a 3-run cushion. They led 4-1, scoring 2 in the ninth. But here in the bottom of the ninth, Cal has come up with a run on a leadoff home run by John Keel. Then a base hit by catcher Derek Stark. And now we have a change in pitchers as Linty Ingram, the ace of the staff. And there to see 17 victories this year has come on for Arizona State. And we cannot emphasize enough, Jim Cock, you don't want to go to the losers bracket in the College World Series in Game 1. That's a rough road to come back.
Well, especially you've been able to get by 8 innings with Rusty Kilgo, a guy who is a relief pitcher. Now you're going to your ace. Linty Ingram can wrap this game up and still be available to start the next game. But obviously this is where the pressure begins in the College World Series to try to get into that winner's bracket.
Darrell Weiss, the second baseman, is the batter. Grounded out back in the second. Grounded out fielder's choice in the fourth, and then flied out back in the 7th inning. There you see the runner, Derek Stark. Curveball, strike call.
We mentioned prior to the game today, the reason Ingram did not start, he had 2 starts against California during the year. He went 15 innings, and in those 15 innings, even though he was 1-1, he gave up 12 runs. These guys have been able to hit Linty pretty well.
10 of those runs came in the opening game at Tempe, and then he pitched much, much better in the second game that was played in Berkeley. Count goes even at 1 apiece. Sounds like maybe the corniest thing in the world to say, but this is exactly the label that was put on the University of California. In the fact that until 9 are over, you just don't count them out. And their record proves it this year. They continue to do it over and over again. To the plate, curveball, great looking pitch. Count goes to 1-2.
They had to beat Stanford 2 out of 3 late in the year just to qualify to get an at-large bid. And then they had the pressure-packed regional down in Austin, Texas, where they had to beat Texas in Austin. Very few teams do that twice.
1-2 pitch, swung on, fouled off to the right side.
That's Rusty Kilgo. Only got that fastball up to 80 miles an hour once or twice, but did a great job for the first 8 innings.
Brian Scott, the man on deck, but the situation, base runner down at first is Derek Stark, still nobody out. Ingram to the plate, fouls off another one. They had the hit and run going that time. So Arizona State trying to take advantage of a 2-run rally in the top of the 9th inning. They had given up one of those as they had a 3-run ball. It's the leadoff home run by John Keel. And in the base hit by catcher Derek Stark. Brown off first base. Dribbler to the right side is fouled. Kevin Brown, the pinch runner for Stark, heads back to first base. Ingram. He is from Hallsville, Texas. I said that incorrectly earlier on Rusty Kilgo. Throw back to first, back in time. Kilgo is out of Houston. Ingram from Hallsville. Part of the Fabulous Five, they call them. Breaking ball into the dirt. Brown looking very closely, stays at first base. Can't make a mistake right here.
Boy, another good block by Tim Spear. We've seen both of these catchers today. The object not to catch the ball necessarily, but just get your body so that in a position you can block it and keep the runner from advancing. Spear once again does a good job.
2-2 count on Weiss. Both clubs scored a run in the 3rd. Then Arizona State 1 in the 7th and 2 in the 9th. Runner is going.
Well, and even though he's 2 runs down, Kevin Brown's run really doesn't mean anything. Bob Milano has played this type of baseball all year long. Very similar to Ron Frazier in the Miami Ball Club. They don't have a great deal of power. They walk more than they strike out, and they steal a lot of bases. California led the Pac South Division with 133 this season.
Brown's going to be good and warm over at first base because he has been very active. As he had him going in the last pitch, and it was swung on and fouled. And he'd gone back over there at least 6 different times to make sure that he doesn't get too big a lead. Pretty good lead by Brown over there on first base. Ingram's going to go back, and they got it. Brown, just as we said, with a pretty good lead over there, leaning too far. And the first out on the bottom of the 9th for Arizona State.
And once again, another base running mistake by California. No excuse for this when you're 2 runs down. Kevin Brown's run does not mean anything. You see Ingram got him leaning just far enough so that Willis could put on the tag. And how many base running mistakes have we seen California make in this ball game? Right now, they could have been tie or maybe ahead. Think Rusty Kilgo likes it?
To the plate. They got to check with the appeal. The umpire says, nope, he didn't go, so the count goes full. And the suspense remains, but now they're down a base runner that was very precious to him, Jimmy.
In that situation, almost like a softball game, you don't need to take a big lead. A 2-run homer just ties the ball game.
3-2 pitch down low for ball 4.
Now that pickoff looks even bigger than that. They could have the lead run at the plate. Just to recap this game, back in the 3rd inning, the Golden Bears committed a couple mental miscues in the infield and outfield. That enabled Arizona State to score a run. Then they ran themselves out of an inning with an attempted double steal, with Lewis being thrown out at second base and Mayo at third. So they have had their chances. They've not run the bases well.
Brian Scott, the right fielder, looking for his first base hit. Strike called to the outside corner.
Linty Ingram, we might point out, in addition to his 17-4-1 loss record, does have 1 save this year. He's only been used in relief 5 times.
Ground ball to the second baseman. Could be 2, has 1, and Arizona State is in the winner's bracket as they get the double play to end this one with a final score of 4-2. Jim Cott, just about 3 minutes ago, the skies did not look quite as bright for the Sun Devils, did they?
Well, it's a combination of good pitching on the part of Kilgo and Ingram on that double play ball, but too many opportunities blown on the bases by the Golden Bears.
So let's take a break. Arizona State has pulled it out with a scare in the bottom of the ninth for the Golden Bears. We'll be right back.
You know what a flat old tater chip is, huh? It's like fishing where there ain't no fish. Ooh, but nothing flat about Ruffles potato chips. Ruffles got ridges. That's right. And they taste just as good as having them fish come jumping right in the boat, looking right on you eye and saying, Justin, me, I surrender. I guarantee.
Ruffles brand potato chips. The taste won't leave you flat.
Ooh, I caught the whole bunch. Hey.
It is no big deal. It's a hassle. Oh, it's called Mastercare Car Service. Brakes, tune-ups, alignments. No big deal. The mechanics are great. All their equipment, you can swear they were technicians. And they stand behind their work 6 months or 6,000 miles. Mastercare. You're covered from Maine to Missoula. These guys are so good. Fixing your car is no big deal.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. Mastercare Car Service by Firestone.
But I thought they just sold tires.
Well, there's our final score, 4-2. The Sun Devils win over their rival from the Pac-10 Conference, the California Golden Bears, 4-2. And the players of the game, the Frito-Lay players of the game, and here they are. For Arizona State, Rusty Kilgo, who went 8 innings of this one, gave up 2 runs. Both of them were earned. 9 hits, 7 strikeouts, and 1 base on balls. And for California, great job by that gentleman right there, the starter, Travis Willis.
And an 8 1/3 innings, Ron. He just gave up just 9 hits and 4 runs, kept his team in the ball game.
So let's take a break as Arizona State torts a rally in the 9th inning, and they have won it. We'll return in just a moment.